Video games are hard. 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 We're here for episode. That was my genius.
That's something that I did before.
Video games are hard. But yeah, we're here at episode 21 of Video Games Are Hard. Recording this week. Trey and I just like earlier today we did the Sunshine Relay and everything. We'll get into that a little bit later, but just know that we are recording this after talking to each other a fair bit today.
3 hours earlier for that relay.
Yeah, and I think we've both napped since.
Yeah, we took a break. I took a nap. I felt like crap, but I feel good now.
Dude, I had no voice. I streamed for 5 hours before it, and then I did the 3 hour commentary. By the end, yeah, we'll get into it a bit. But like, episode 21, we're here, guestless. Woo! We're chilling. Some news happened this week.
Oh yeah, we're gonna start off with the least gaming thing, but the most important thing to me.
Yeah.
YouTube done goofing if they follow through with this.
Yeah. Have they? So what was it? They posted the tweet and you immediately responded to it with the video. They tweeted just like, oh yeah, we've put some research in, and you know what? We're like,
what research?
we put the research in and figured out that, you know what, there's all these like bully mobs on YouTube, so we're going to remove the dislike counter. And you're just kind of sitting there going
so I know that everyone and their mother's heard this by now, but especially by the time this goes up. But they're changing dislikes to where the dislike feature is still there, but they're hiding the number of dislikes from the public. And the content creator can still go into their video settings and see what the number is. Mm-hmm. So I asked you, how exactly does this combat mental health in any way?
Well, if you're a small creator, you know, they can.
Oh yeah, for all those small creators that get dislike bombed, all you out there that I'm sure exists.
I thought it was so funny. So in response, so you made a tweet in response, being like, "Yeah, this is stupid." This is dumb.
I said my main thing against it is that no matter if you have dislikes or not, because most social media platforms don't even have dislikes, but there's always an alternative way because of human ingenuity to express distaste for something. Mm-hmm. On Twitter, you have the ratio, or like quote retweeting something to high hell.
Yeah.
And there's just going to be an alternative method, even if dislikes are hidden, which is going to be comment related. And from what I've seen, and I know myself, the most detrimental thing to mental health on YouTube is the YouTube comments.
Yeah.
Because one negative comment, like that sticks with you for a little bit sometimes.
Like sure. Like
versus just like a number that's there. It's like, oh, this number doesn't really mean much to me. Like it's still like the ratio of likes to dislikes. I don't care about this 1% of dislikes. That's just kind of expected.
Yeah.
But like,
if it's like a long form, like somebody saying in response in the comment thread, just like,
so people are just going to comment either ratio or dislike. It's like, and there's multiple reasons why this is bad, because, and like I've been on YouTube. I am, what's a level above connoisseur?
I
don't know what that would be, but I am a level above connoisseur of YouTube.
Okay.
Because I have been actively using this site since 2007. I have used this site way too much. I've watched way too many videos probably. Mm-hmm. And I've seen the site progress over the years, the evolution. I remember back in the day when there were favorites and you had YouTube friends and there was an inbox. You had like DMs and stuff on YouTube.
YouTube friends?
Yeah, friends were a thing on YouTube.
Dude, Twitch still has friends and I've never
I don't even use the Twitch thing, the friends thing on Twitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was just a lot more like you could customize your channel like crazy back in the day, and you know, you can make it look ugly if you wanted to. That's probably why they removed it.
Yeah.
It was more like MySpace kind of. It was just like sort of you could do whatever. Mm-hmm. And now it's a lot more streamlined. Honestly, I like the current YouTube layout. I'm the kind of guy where the majority of people are very not open to change and every little layout thing and the adpocalypse and every little thing. There's always an outcry of hatred toward it. And I'm usually the one who's a little more open-minded. I'm like, you know, the layout change, it's not necessarily bad. I can see myself getting used to this. It's not too terrible. Mm-hmm. But this dislike decision is probably the second dumbest thing I've seen YouTube do in their whole life cycle. The dumbest thing.
Yeah, dumbest thing. Yeah, what's the dumbest?
I think, remember Google Plus?
Yes.
Or this is before you were active on the internet, really. But
I do remember Google Plus, though.
Google was trying to force their social media platform, Google Plus, down everyone's throat.
Oh, yeah.
And to the extent that they were kind of getting peeved that no one was really sticking with their platform because they were too slow to roll out invitations. And it was like, when you got on there was just no one on there. So everyone left it. But they did this really like astronomically dumb thing where they were making you link your Google Plus accounts to your YouTube account, or like you couldn't use it or something.
Okay.
So every YouTube account had to have a Google Plus account associated with it. And like that, like unanimously, no one liked that. So they're like, okay, we're going to back off.
So yeah, that was the dumbest thing.
That was probably the dumbest thing. But removing the dislike counter, this is probably the second dumbest thing I've seen. Mm-hmm. And the main thing, there's a few things, but like the main ones, and I'm sure people have heard these reasons. If you're going to like look up a tutorial for, say, in my case, I look up tutorials on like very specific effects in Adobe Premiere or how to download a certain thing. Oftentimes, you'll find tutorials that have like a 50% like to dislike ratio, which is pretty heavily in the dislike favor, and that lets you know it's probably not a very good tutorial, and maybe there's a better one out there for this.
Yeah.
But if you go to a video, let's say nowadays it has like 100 likes, 150 dislikes, it's pretty safe to assume you should probably go somewhere else for the information.
Yeah.
After the change, all you're going to see is 100 likes, and that's it. Mm-hmm. So you have literally no idea if it's going to be good or not until you watch the video.
Well, there's probably going to be some like sort of math like equation that you can do when you're just like, okay, so this video has 100,000 views, whatever, and it's just like, oh, it has 200 likes, and it's just like, there's probably going to be some sort of equation that you do. It's just like, okay, so what would that compare? Like, how would the dislikes compare? Be like factoring in how many views it has, and like. That kind of
sure.
thing.
You could notice like maybe the like count's not very large, but
yeah, but it would be the same kind of deal.
If it's a tutorial, you could assume people just go to the video, get the information, and leave. Don't even bother liking it.
Yeah.
So there's still that thought. It's like maybe it's legit. The only way you could tell it's not legit is to scroll down to the comments and see the general consensus of the comments.
Yeah.
And that being said, they could always disable comments or something. So it's like you don't always have that.
See, so it's not, maybe it's not a word you were looking for. You're saying a level above connoisseur. I feel like the way you're describing it, it feels like you're just a YouTube veteran. Like it's not like the most eloquent word. Yeah.
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 I mean, I upload YouTube videos. I've uploaded videos since 2007 on like older accounts and stuff. Mm-hmm. Those videos are long gone now, but I did. Actually, the first videos I ever uploaded were of a very popular Flash game known as Line Rider. Mm-hmm. I was actually active in the Line Rider community before speedrunning. Fun fact. Mm-hmm. But those days are long forgone. That was actually like my main introduction to the internet was a Line Rider forum, and that was like my gateway to internet culture in a sense. But yeah, so another dumb thing about dislikes, just to add to this point.
Sure.
Like the like to dislike ratio, even outside of tutorials and stuff, is such a good indicator to me. I even have a YouTube extension called like vidIQ, where you can see the percentage of the ratio before you even click the video.
Oh.
And if I see like 99% on there, I can safely assume this is a really good video or like a decent video.
Yeah.
With very few exceptions. But if I see 94% or so, then clearly there's going to be some controversial takes, maybe some political opinions in there. Mm-hmm. Or maybe they said something, maybe the title is misleading. Maybe. But without that information, if they do get rid of this, then I don't know. It's going to be harder to judge if a video is good or not until you consume it. It's kind of like, I actually saw a video from Marquez Brownlee, like a very, very big tech YouTuber.
Yes.
He made a video about this topic. And
see, the only reason I know who Marquez Brownlee is from the 2019 YouTube replay.
Yeah, the YouTube Rewind. Yeah.
Rewind. Yeah.
Which, by the way, is one of the reasons they're probably disabling it.
Yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, we did some research and we didn't want to see the videos that we put a lot of effort in having the record amount of dislikes. Yeah.
I forget what my point with Marcus Brownlee was, but I don't know. He had a video on it too. He makes a lot of good points as well. Mm-hmm. I don't know. The whole thing is silly. They haven't followed through with this yet.
Yeah.
At least at the time of this recording.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line is, they're really just doing this, and it's so obvious they're doing this to like protect both political campaigns and corporations.
Yeah.
Which are just advertising to you, or, you know, obviously political videos are always going to be controversial, so that's kind of a no-brainer. But I don't know. It's just, and people were asking, it's like, how come they're rolling this out if literally like 99.9% of people are against this? And my answer to that is because only people are complaining and not corporations.
True.
And that's pretty much it.
Hey, Trey, you know what? In response to that, I have this to say, and
go for it.
Totally see why you might think that, though it's not the case.
Oh,
this change is about protecting our creators by reducing targeted dislike attacks, especially for smaller channels. Background and details.
Common problem, I know.
Background and details in this video. So that's like the copy paste that the team YouTube person said in response to so many responses in that thread. It's just like, oh, what, you're just doing this to protect corporations or whatever, and just like all those responses, and then this copy paste, and then the link to the video again. Just totally see why you might think that, though it's not the case. This change is for protecting smaller creators, and then it links to the video. And I actually responded to your and a couple other tweets like that with that copy paste, but I replaced the video with just a YouTube a dumb meme video.
Oh yeah, the fuck France video.
the I love France, and then it just
I love France. Psych. Or what does it say after that?
Fuck France. Fuck France.
Fuck France.
And it's just that video. It's
yeah,
like,
that reminds me of another just hilarious thing that I saw in that thread. Mm-hmm. Someone replied to that like dislike removal video from Team YouTube saying, oh, great, now like scammers and stuff are going to get away with all their stuff more easily. And then Team YouTube actually replied to that tweet in a, relatable corporation kind of way. They started out their tweet with big sigh.
No.
Just the corporation saying, big sigh. Scammers and whatnot are not allowed on this platform. And it's like, I mean, also robbing a bank's not allowed, but it still happens.
No. The like trying to just like bond with the Zoomer generation and like just like using the phrasing.
Like the weird relatable phrasing combined with, no, there can't be scammers. That's illegal. No. When there's actually scammers everywhere on YouTube, it's like, what?
And they're just like the official account.
That's it's just the whole thing looks so dumb. And if they actually cared about smaller creators or like the community at large, they would possibly see the fact that no one likes this. Mm-hmm. But they're just gonna probably roll it out anyway. So
I think the funniest thing that came out of this, or not the funniest thing, but like one of the funny things that I did see where it was one of those memes. It's just like, what was it? Fine, I'll do it myself. The Thanos meme, and it was just kind of like instead of having dislikes counted on the video, they just like used a comment and just like dislike. They typed a comment that said dislike, and then everybody just disliked that comment just to like. Just to be like, what would the ratio be if everybody disliked the video? You know.
It also reminds me, like, also as a veteran YouTube user, I also remember this. Mm-hmm. When they initially added likes and dislikes to YouTube comments, you could actually see the amount of negative votes that a comment has.
Okay. And
there would sometimes be comments with like -50, -100, like downvotes to the comments, mm-hmm. And it was kind of cool seeing like, wow, people really hate this comment. But now, like, for a long time, we just kind of took for granted if a video has a lot of dislikes or if a comment has a lot of dislikes, you just don't see a like count, and there's no indicator that people hate the comment.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they've been already censoring backlash to comments for a long time. The next obvious step for them is like, oh, we'll do it for videos too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, oh yeah, the point with Marcus Brownlee I was going to make, I just remembered.
Go for it.
He compared YouTube to more like an Amazon or an Etsy type deal, where imagine buying a product on Amazon and not being able to see negative reviews.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
YouTube is less like a general social media platform like Twitter or something. It's more like, instead of bargaining, like using your money or using likes and dislikes to determine what your money goes toward.
It's watch time.
It's using likes and dislikes to determine where you spend your time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know beforehand based on like to dislike ratio that it's not going to be a good video, you don't want to spend your time there.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays it's going to be, or if they do like follow through with this and you don't see that dislike count, you're just going to go ahead and you have no choice but to watch it.
Yeah.
And you're just going to waste your time more often.
See, the funny thing about that, like, I think I'm like the opposite of that. It's just like, oh, this has a shit ton of dislikes. Why?
Oh, I do. Like, you know what? I do that too sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'm very open-minded, but sometimes it's like, clearly, like, you can tell immediately. It's like, yeah, I can see why.
Like, when there's, like, huge drama on Twitter about, like, the Gillette ad from a couple of years ago, or, like, just random things along that ilk that people are just mad about. It's just like, oh, I'm just, like, now I'm more curious to watch this advertisement. To see, like, what exactly, like, they got wrong or whatever. It's usually just, like, huge... The only videos that have, like, huge dislike counts that this would be really affecting are just... large corporations.
And I mean, I do see
to me,
political videos recommended to me maybe because I'm in America, where it's like, oh, Joe Biden rolls out new vaccine plan or all this stuff. And they always have like 6% like the dislike ratio. I think those might actually be getting dislike bombed, but it's like, I mean, who cares? It's just like some political thing.
Yeah, like on YouTube, it's just like, yeah, who
I'll look at my homepage, I'll see like, there's like a section for political stuff like that. And the vidIQ number is always like 10%.
It's not like you're looking at YouTube for political content being like, oh, this has a lot of dislikes. Maybe I shouldn't watch it. You know, like it's like if it's going to affect you, if it's Joe Biden rolling out whatever vaccine, like whatever example you want to put in there, political, like if you're interested in what is going on, then like other people disliking it, like probably should spur you on. It's like, oh, what did he say? You know?
Yeah.
Like, be more interested in it. But yeah, removing dislikes is such a...
It's, I mean, again, it hasn't happened yet, but it's only a matter of time, maybe.
Fingers crossed that it doesn't.
Before it becomes, this kind of is, it sounds so, like, boomery and dumb, but this is like a step towards a George Orwellian 1984 future a little bit. Because people are going to be less attuned to what's sort of fraudulent and what's not. They're just going to see the like count, assume, or like, unless they use critical thinking, they're going to just sort of assume like, oh yeah, this is probably legit.
It's the Plato's cave where it's just like all they see, the shadows on the wall are just likes.
Oh,
they just see likes and they don't see any thumbs down as they pass. It's just like, oh, our world is just filled with thumbs up.
I made that reference recently. When was that again?
That was last week.
It was last week.
Yeah, the Plato's cave where they're all stuck. We didn't remember what it was, but it's the Plato's cave.
They're forced to face a wall and... all they see is like shadows going back and forth.
All they see are thumbs up icons. There's no thumbs down. At some point, the thumbs down stop, and they think to themselves, "Oh, I guess it's better outside," or it's like, "I guess life is good now."
Dude, you should be a political cartoonist and make that right now.
You should just see the thumbs up go,
and then put it on Facebook for all the boomers to enjoy. That'd be legendary.
Oh, they've removed all of the bad stuff. It's all over. Everything's good now.
But yeah, I think that pretty much covers that. It's just a silly decision from YouTube. Woohoo!
Yeah, I think it's definitely when I saw that you like tweeted in response to it. Your response to it was the first thing that I saw, and
I the first person I saw make any response to it was actually Imp Lemon.
Oh yeah, Imp Lemon, yeah,
because he is super passionate. He has a whole video about why you should like dislikes, and he kind of called that this would happen in the future. He's like, it's a matter of time, guys. YouTube's gonna do it, and they're doing it.
I may not like. I love all of Imp Lemon's stuff. I actually started following him like probably 3 years ago at this point. But like I may not agree with everything he says, but definitely that video is one to agree with.
He's one of those guys that can make any topic interesting, even NASCAR.
Yeah.
So
it's like exactly. Even NASCAR.
Because I don't give a shit about NASCAR until I saw his videos.
But yeah, the first comment I saw was yours, and I was just like, oh, and then I watched their video, and I looked through all the comments and saw the copy paste and started copy pasting it. But
not gonna lie, I didn't even watch the Team YouTube video because I saw 1 second. It was some guy with an extremely punchable face, and I stopped watching.
He's sitting there in just like a small apartment. It looks like it was very jarring. It's just like, where are you?
It was
sitting?
just this guy. he had like this smug face. I just didn't like it. I was like, I'm not watching this. Screw it.
Like he starts off the video being like, I was with you guys, where it's just like, yeah, I thought removing dislikes would be a bad idea, but, and then he goes, it's just like, we did all this research,
and I'm just sitting here like, I want to see this research on my desk.
Yeah, I want to punch your face. I want to, but yeah, not actually.
Maybe he's a cool guy. Maybe he's just, the one having to deliver the bad news.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just an interesting development if they ever push that through.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the YouTube take.
You can bring on a topic now.
Hey, well, just to wrap that up, that was our YouTube take. Fuck, I was going to say something. It was the Marques Brownlee. It's the Marques Brownlee effect. You said something, and I had a thought. God damn it. But anyway, yeah. It's like, that's our YouTube take, the same as everybody else's take.
Pretty much, but somehow YouTube's still not going to hear it, so it doesn't really matter.
This morning as we're recording, we're recording actually later than we usually do on a Saturday because we were in a call during the Super Mario Sunshine 96 Shine Relay. We were doing the commentary together, Trey and I. The Sunshine community, Super Mario Sunshine, Trey and I run Super Mario Sunshine. Hey, how's it going? We speedrun it.
Yep.
Been doing it for years. And so the community put together like some notable names like Lego ran the stream in the background. Jeff Compass put the thing together initially.
Derp Space made the layout.
Like there's just like a bunch of people and a lot of people from around the world participated in it. Japan versus Europe versus North America, all different sects of the Super Mario Sunshine speedrunning community to come together and just kind of race 96 shines. And if you've been around the podcast at all, you know that I am the 96 shines guy. I've been playing that category pretty passionately for 6 years now.
Passionately and unpassionately.
Oh, definitely
depending on the day.
Definitely dispassionately at some point. But yeah, so Trey and I volunteered to we were initially invited to be, and we accepted invites to be on the North American team. But we decided after a day or so, I was just like, oh, well, I think I'd be more valuable on commentary because I've just put so much time into it, and I would get just genuinely excited. And Trey and I have done commentary for a bunch of stuff. You and I have done commentary for things.
I am me. I am Trey. Yes.
Hey, Trey, you. We've done commentary a shit ton together, and we do a podcast together. We vibe pretty well.
It's really easy to talk about Mario Sunshine for a long time.
Yeah, especially with each other, and just get excited about random stuff, and then Trey lets me go off about hundreds for. there was a small segment in the relay today where I was just talking about Serena 100s for 3 minutes straight, and Trey just didn't say a word.
Yeah, I couldn't get a word in edgewise. I was like, this guy's just gonna go off, I guess. So yeah,
I was just getting so excited about hundreds and stuff, but it was so we were initially invited to be part of the team, and we went, yeah, okay, and then a day later I was just like, oh, I should maybe back out and do the commentary instead. I think I'm very valuable there. And then Ramato messaged me and was just like, oh, maybe you can get Trey to do it too. And that's
maybe you can get Trey to do it. Like, of course he's gonna get me to do it.
Yeah, I just shoot a DM to Trey. Of anyone, maybe I'm speaking out of turn here, but I think of anybody, I can probably get you to do commentary more likely than anybody else.
And I also didn't really want to play that much because I want to mainly focus on 80%, and I would have to learn a few non-80% things again.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I'd rather just do commentary.
So
I'll just describe how like the relay is set up. There were 3 different teams: Japan, America, and Europe. Mm-hmm. And it was 3 teams of 8 people, and it's like 1 person for each of the 7 worlds, and then 1 person for the final Delfino segment. Mm-hmm. Because 96 shines also includes, it's every physical shine, no blue coins. So that includes Delfino shines. And it was a very simplified route. The usual 96 shines route, you sort of like doing a little bit of this level here, then you go to this level, and then you skip all these event cutscenes at the end of the game. Yeah. But this was a very simple, do all of Bianco in one shot, then all of Pianta in one shot, and you just go, and then Delfino on one shot at the end, and then you do Corona, then you're done.
All of each individual world, and then the end, yeah.
And the teams were pretty balanced. It was pretty clear to some people that like Team Japan was the most stacked.
Yeah.
And it showed because they got like by far the best time. They killed it. They got like a 2:37.
Yeah, that's like what you were saying is just like that's easily top 10.
Yeah.
Like if they got that time genuinely.
And because that ties like my PB and I'm 6th.
Yeah.
And we were joking about how they actually had a couple of 3D All-Stars 3DAS players on their team.
3DAS.
And we were joking about how like, they were carried by 3DAS. But something I didn't even notice until I like rewatched parts of it was they actually, when they switched to their first 3DAS player, they had to give themselves a 50-second wait period to equal it out.
Oh.
So they actually sat there for 50 seconds straight before going because their load times are too OP.
That's crazy.
Somehow we both missed that. But yeah, I went back. Even Lego typed a message in chat about it. And I guess we were too busy on our own little world to notice. But yeah, even
carried by 3DAS.
They balanced 3DAS after all. So
is 3DAS actually like do people say 3DAS now? Is that a thing?
I
or
say
did you
3DAS.
make that up? Oh, you just
I
didn't.
I never had to use 3DAS in conversation until recently because it was added to the full game leaderboard. Not like on its own separate thing, like separate game. So
yeah, 3D All Stars. But so Trey and I backed out and did commentary, and commentary went swimmingly. Like we went.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was good. I listened back. And again, I don't blame anyone. I don't blame Lego. He did a fantastic job. But my audio was a little bit quiet, I thought. Like, you were definitely, like, your audio was a little higher than mine.
Hey, you know what? Some podcasts, I'm just like, you know what? Trey's really loud. And
okay, but I will admit that audio balancing is the hardest thing in streaming or, like, video making. Because, I mean, I've streamed since 2014, so have you. Yeah. The video portion I can handle extremely well. Like, the video, you can see it. You can see when it's off. Audio, you have no idea. It's way more abstract, and you don't often know that it sucks until you hear the VOD afterwards.
Yeah,
because people in chat are often shy to be like, "Hey, could you turn this up a little bit?"
Yeah,
but like if you say that, I'll do it. But it's just like you gotta obviously there's no onus on you to do that.
Yeah, the strat is eventually you get past the point where you're just like kind of comfortable going live, and you have those few people in chat that are just like, "Oh yeah, your audio's off and you can turn it down or whatever."
Oh yeah, I think my most common thing is that when I record ILs, I turn off my desktop audio and just have game audio.
Yeah.
And I'll start streaming with that setting on, and like my notifications aren't making any noise. They're like, "Hey, I think your desktop audio is up." I'm like, "Oh, thank you."
A constant strategy when you're starting out streaming is like local record before you go live. Just like simulate that you're streaming or whatever, and just kind of local record it, and then replay it and see like, okay, so how did the music I have in the background sound? How did the game sound? How did I sound?
I do that every time I move or switch setups or switch any kind of equipment. I always do that. Yeah, it's a good strat.
But I think overall, like people seem to really enjoy the race entirely. Like. So Trey and I backed out and did commentary. I had this tinge of regret, and I talked about it on commentary, when I thought initially it was going to be the Team North America versus Team Europe, and I'm like, well, like I don't have to do it. Like I'm second place in the category, and like I'm good at the 96 Shine stuff, but I can back out and do commentary. And then I saw Nanashi and Mevius and Orange and Tobo all join the relay Discord. I'm like, oh, it's Japan's involved too.
And Yossi.
And I'm just sitting there going like, oh man, I could have participated in this group. That would have been so fun.
Okay, not gonna lie, I highly underestimated Team Japan because for some reason I have this assumption that like the majority of Japanese players only know 90%.
Yeah.
But it turns out that these players know 96 Shines and stuff more than I do because Yossi, Yossi, who you think is just the 80% guy, he was doing gelato hundreds with turbo nozzle, which no one does as far as I know.
Nobody's done it in a row.
Nobody does it outside of ILs until Yossi apparently does it. So
yeah. I don't think his was particularly clean. I didn't want to say it in the moment.
But it was still like really crazy to see that.
The fact that he went for it is actually nuts. And he didn't like mess up anything. It wasn't amazing, but I didn't
see any glaring mistakes. So
yeah. Well, Yeah, eventually you get to the point.
Well, that was a theme where like I would say something and you'd be like, Then I'm like, come on.
But I definitely had that tinge of regret, and but I don't regret doing like the commentary afterwards. I see people seem to enjoy it, and it was just like a great event to have.
It was a chill event.
Randomly.
It wasn't the most exciting race. It was pretty spread out, but
for sure.
It was still fun to watch and see everyone's strats and everything.
Yeah, it was just fun to talk about. Like eventually it becomes like recording the podcast, doing the commentary, and you just kind of talk to each other about the routes that each person is doing, or like what strats they could have done, or
we were definitely explaining what they were doing a lot more than you guys during the weekly yesterday.
Oh yeah.
That was like the Modest Tomato Sid podcast.
Yeah.
And then Trey's doing Rico 5, and then
Trey's doing Rico 5.
Speaking of that weekly really quick, that was actually the first race I ever joined of Sunshine in like many, many months.
Yeah.
And in fact, so much so that we pretty much switched off of SRL, the former racing platform, to racetime.gg. Mm-hmm. And I actually made my racetime.gg account literally yesterday before that race started.
Yeah.
And on my first race ever on that site, I actually did really, really well. I got my second best time ever in that category.
Yeah.
It was actually going to be a 1:14 until Bowser Goob got me, and it was a 1:15:02.
Yeah, and you were telling me that if Noki went any better, it could have been much better or whatever.
Yeah,
like
it was
bleeding time in Noki.
It was a solid run, except I didn't just not get early cycle, but it was actually a slow Piana 5. It was like a 2-minute split.
Yeah.
But good Mansa, solid PD, and no extra cycles on King Boo, and solid gameplay pretty much the rest of the run. But then I got to Noki around -14 or so, and I just bled time away. I bled time in Noki 2. I lost like 6 seconds on Eel. I ground pounded too early on the rope in Noki 6 and fell down.
Yeah, I remember talking about that.
And by the time I finished Noki, I was +1 second, but my Corona had pretty much no time save. So I was a few seconds off PB, but really insane for a race for me.
Yeah, so
I'm proud of that.
Yeah, I was more focused on your run than even doing commentary for points. Like I had to go to your channel and stuff, but like this is all broadcast for anybody out there. This is all broadcast on twitch.tv on the Sunshine Community Twitch channel. Like the relay was on it this morning, and every week it seems like we're going to be starting to do, like we've done it only 2 weeks in a row, but Lego seems to be pretty passionate about.
Yeah, so SMS Weeklies have actually happened for a long time now.
Yeah,
but they only just started recently doing a restream of it. Putting a little more effort for the community, which is kind of cool.
And I've done the commentary twice in a row with two different people each time. JJ SRL, who's been on the podcast before, I did it the first week with, and then I did it with Modest Tomato, who's a Tetris commentator.
I never knew that. Does he do modern Tetris or classic Tetris?
Modern Tetris.
Okay, that's interesting.
Or maybe both. I don't know, but he does more modern Tetris, like Tetrio and stuff.
Cool.
But I wonder
what his 40-line sprint time is.
Better than yours.
A lot better than mine.
I will bet. So I will bet my entire life savings on that.
Oh, come on, 53 is godlike. You don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, it's really chill, and like versus the relay today. I kind of wanted to emphasize talking about the 96 shines levels in the relay today with you and stuff, because I knew that you would like back me up on it and help me out with the conversation around like some of the faster stuff.
Sure.
And just like that.
Yeah.
And but like the weekly commentary, I don't know if I'm going to do it every week. Like I would like to, but if any other people want to like jump in and do commentary for, it's really just fun to chill and do and just like talk about whatever's going on, whatever race. And if Lego wants to put it together and I'm free on the Friday night, I'm totally down to just chill and talk SMS for an hour and a half with some random.
I might even join commentary. I'm not going to join. I'll join like probably more weeklies in the future. Not all of them, but I may commentate a weekly at some point. We'll see.
Yeah,
it could be fun.
It's just a chill time. Like I've been using the opening cutscene as just kind of just a podcast essentially, where I was just talking to Modest Tomato or JJSRL.
Oh yeah, the cool thing about if I actually managed to get that PB. It would have been a PB with new file for that officialness, right?
Yeah, officiality.
no peach file, no hacked file. This is a legit new file PB.
But yeah, if anybody wants to catch the Sunshine events, like including the relay that happened today and the weekly races, Sunshine community on Twitch.
Definitely give it a follow if you're interested.
Yeah,
because it's been pretty active recently.
But it's just so nice to see like from all corners of the globe for the relay today, and
it's very hard to schedule something like that because it had to be very early for America so that it wasn't like some crazy time for Japan.
Yeah,
because it started like 11 p.m. JST, but it's like 9 a.m. EST. So
exactly,
it's tough to schedule all that, but we made it work.
Yeah,
I only got like 5 hours of sleep. But
Trey woke up at 8 a.m. or just before 8 a.m. and
yep. And actually, so I woke up at 7:30, really tired, and I was like, "Dang, I gotta wake up." So I jogged in place, got my heart rate up, and then I was good to go. So
yeah, you were telling me and Lego that I had to make a breakfast, a short breakfast, really quick, and eat that just before because I was actually up since 2 a.m. We were actually DMing each other at 2 a.m.
Yeah, I was like, I can't sleep,
and I was just like, I think I'm done sleeping. So Trey and I were like on opposite schedules that way because I had went to bed at like maybe 10 p.m. and like I had been sleeping periodically over the past day anyway, like taking naps. Right. So I was just like, I woke up at 2 a.m. and I'm like, I think I'm up, and you're just like, man, I can't sleep. So we just like kind of DM'd each other. By some fluke, we just kind of synced up our schedules, even though they were so opposite, and just kind of talked to one another for like half an hour, and then eventually you fell asleep. And I actually did a stream, like I did a 5-hour stream of IELTS and Duolingo learning Swedish, which I've been starting to stream.
Duolingo?
Yeah, it's actually so like refreshing, because I have so many European viewers.
Yeah, especially when you stream at a weird time like that.
Yeah, especially if you stream it early in the morning, or like because I've catered that audience to some extent. Like I used to stream early in the morning, like starting at 7 a.m. Eastern time, like back in the day, and like more recently to some extent. But like having that European viewership, and like two of my more notable chatters are from Sweden, and it's kind of the reason I'm learning Swedish to some extent.
Armada and Android.
Yeah, Armada and Android just constantly come in the chat. But like, yeah, Rudhira and like Rasmus and those people, and then there's just other Europeans that help me out, and like people are helping out. We're just like talking through the lessons and figuring out how the language works. And I know I've like forayed this into a Duolingo, talking about Duolingo, but I wanted to talk about the fact that I was streaming Duolingo in general.
That's cool.
And it's like it's really refreshing. And so today I actually tested doing it like switching it back and forth between Sunshine IELTS and Duolingo, and like the lessons on Duolingo. So it's just like essentially 20 minutes or a half hour of IELTS, and then go like, okay, now I'm going to do a Duolingo lesson. And then we just kind of chill, and I switch the scene, and we talk through the lesson, and and it makes it so that I'm more like active conversationally, instead of me just being like, well, we're still doing this Rico hundreds IL for the fourth hour.
It's really hard to make an IL stream interesting, which is a shame, because the more IL-centric games like GoldenEye or Mario Kart, any Mario Kart, tend to get less viewership because people aren't as attuned to the IL grind as like the runners themselves.
Yeah.
But I mean, grinding ILs is really fun. It's just not as interesting from a spectator perspective. I get it.
Well, especially when, as a streamer, you don't want to constantly keep talking about the IL. It's just like, well, I'm doing this movement. Like, you don't want to just keep talking about the IL over and over again. You actually kind of want to distract yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you're just like, maybe not in the moment or whatever, maybe not paying attention to like the gameplay as much.
My number one time to grind ILs is when I listen back to the podcast when I'm editing it to make sure the audio is good.
Yeah.
I'll grind an IL during it, so I'm not like fully in the IL zone. I'm sort of listening to the thing and just sort of, grinding out in attempts of whatever level I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So it's a good time to do that.
Individual level is what IL means.
Oh, right. And speedrunning is when you... All right, moving on to the next.
Yeah, speedrunning is...
okay, yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Joe Biden...
Totally see why you might think that, though it's not the case. But yeah, it really actually... I really enjoyed it. I streamed Duolingo once the other day for like a couple hours, and like I feel like just both things, like Duolingo lessons, just learning a second language, and the gamification of learning a second language, very effective for me, I think.
It seems like all these apps are making a gamification of everything because they realize it's effective with us millennial minds. So, like, if we just label things as XP and gold, they'll love it. And then boom.
and so going 3 hours straight on Duolingo, learning a different language may be exhausting, and then 3 hours plus of doing an individual level in Super Mario Sunshine, trying to grind for a world record or a PB, very monotonous, gets very tiresome. But if you kind of mix them together, I've found that like it just kind of refreshes your whole attitude, or at least my stream this morning did, where it's just kind of like you start with Duolingo and do a lesson, and you're just like excited about learning Swedish or whatever, and then when you're done a lesson and a half, and then you move over to Rico 100s, you're kind of more energized and it's more fresh in your mind, and you just kind of, you're talking about Sunshine now and you're back in that groove, and then you just alternate back and forth.
That's exactly why I play Minish Cap during the intro cutscene.
Yeah, because that's a great way.
I could just use Hacked File and be going in like, okay, new attempt, go. New attempt, we're going in. Gameplay is rushing into it head first. But I prefer to do Peach File, keep the 3-minute meme court case cutscene, the Among Us and Objection intact, of course. But also, so I get like a little mental break between runs for 3 minutes, sort of force that break on myself, and also play a game just for entertainment, the Wilco strat. Wilco kind of invented that when he started doing like Pokemon pinball during the cutscene.
Yeah.
Many years ago. But I took after him, did various games. I'm on Minish Cap now, and it's been pretty fun. So
yeah, any way to break up the monotony, like from the viewer perspective, it might not be monotonous, but it's like
it adds value to those indie% streams, which inevitably happen where you're just resetting over and over again.
Yeah. Well, see, like it's funny. Like you say that specifically, it's actually really well, like when you screwed up Shadow Mario, I'm like, oh, we get to watch more Minish Cap.
Yeah, see, it's not just like, oh, here we go again. It's like, oh, Minish Cap, cool.
Because when I I don't have the opening game, like I don't use any emulators or anything like that. I think for a short time I was trying to do Minesweeper during the opening cutscenes.
Oh, right, that's a good idea too. Yeah.
But like when I'm just doing a grind, because I also use Peach File, which is just like the like you skip half the cutscenes, whatever.
You can skip the first 2 cutscenes with all gameplay still intact.
Yeah, and so Trey and I use the same timing method, or you and I do the same timing method with that. And when I screw up Shadow Mario, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, dude, I'm the same way, but I'm like, yeah, Minish Cap,
Yeah. You
but still,
have
it's still like a fuck moment, but yeah.
Yeah, it's still a fuck. Yeah, everything's still a fuck. It's like this PD sucks. Like speedrunning is just that.
Any % Sunshine is that.
But yeah, I think breaking up the monotony with Duolingo, or breaking up the monotony of Duolingo with Sunshine, like back and forth, was actually really nice. And having everybody like help me out, and like even just because I got a message from Dap Yee. Speaking of Dap Yee, we'll mention Dap Yee in a bit.
Does Dap Yee know Swedish?
No, he doesn't know Swedish, but he looked at my first Duolingo stream, and he was just like, what, learning Swedish? Lame. And he clicks on it and watches, and he's just like, oh, it's a lot more entertaining than I thought. Because it's just, my stream title was, when I did the first Duolingo stream, was learning Swedish / embarrassing myself. And then I had like a bait Sunshine in the top left corner, because I was thinking about doing IELTS with it, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do with it. Yeah, it was just Sunshine just on the top.
Like, yeah, well, I might play Sunshine, but I don't know. I'll think about it.
Yeah, exactly. And it seemed people were having a good time, even though I was just kind of learning Swedish. But like, it's like everybody's learning Swedish, and like you've said in the past, where it's just what was it in the Video Games Are Hard Season 2 video? I'm very well spoken.
Yeah.
In certain times, I remember that video. I felt very complimented when you made that the like Season 2 announcement video, where you're just
welcome.
Like, yeah, and Sid's just really good at everything, or like whatever you said, just like speaking.
I was kind of BSing it. I had no script for that video. Yeah. So I was like, Sid's he's better at talking, and he's just better at everything.
And then you just
I just zoom in with like sad music.
What you say?
What you say? That's a classic meme.
Yeah. But yeah, Yeah, I feel like people are getting something out of it, and if they're not, it's just kind of like oh, he's learning this, and like I'm talking through everything and trying to figure out how the language works and stuff. And I did talk about learning Swedish last week and maybe the week before, but I've been like gaining momentum, and it's been really nice. I haven't gotten the Rico 100s world record yet, but I'm close.
BDSM level, as a man once said.
You have to treat it like practice. You just have to like you can't see a bad crane in Rico 100s and be like, well, reset. You just kind of go like, oh, how would I react to this in a run?
Dude, I really had to improve my Rico 100s time. I think I choked like 3 different 204s on the shine grab. I have a 206.
Yeah,
but I could definitely improve that by like maybe like get like a lower 2. I don't know.
When I got any 206s during the ILs, and I was just like, oh, so I, even with 2 backup coins, I beat Trey.
Yeah, I suck at hundreds. They're like highly optimized. I learned hundreds well enough to be decent in 120, and that's it.
It's just so nice to have my niche. Like Modest Tomato and I were actually talking about on commentary. It's just like he has actually Peaches as his like close speedrun buddy, and you're mine, obviously. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, oh, we used to go back. We used to with ILs just go into the ILs and try to. It's like, oh, we're both gonna play this IL for a bit, and then you just destroy it, and I'm just kind of sitting there going like, what, bro? Like I'm just.
I think it was like what, Rico 4,
Rico 4, Serena 3.
Noki 2, we were pretty even.
Yeah, but like, yeah. But Modest Tomato was just like, oh yeah, me and Peaches have that experience too, where it's just like he's sitting there, it's like, oh, Peaches, you should give this IL a shot, and he's just been playing it for a couple hours, and Peaches just like, oh, is this time good? And it's just like better than his, and I'm just like, and he's just sitting there going, screw you.
You destroyed me in Noki 3 and various other Bianco 8.
Hey, when it's a niche mechanic, I got you. But
yeah, you're all about the niche mechanics. When it's the least niche level Bianco 4, though, we'll see about that.
Bianco 1, Bianco 4, Rico 5.
Oh, yeah, I'm sick of Bianco 1.
Wiggler.
Wiggler's just stupid. I hate Wiggler.
You're number 2 in the world.
The more I grinded Wiggler, the more I hated it.
But yeah, it's nice to have my niche that everybody kind of respects me for with the hundreds. Like, I know, like, Found Your Gun has no justification. Like, he's a really good individual level player in Super Mario Sunshine. He has no reason to come to my chat and be like, you're really good, except for hundreds. Where it's just like, man, you're actually like really good at this. And he actually like gave me some help. There's a strat just I didn't use because I don't watch videos. And he was just like, oh, you should maybe like use this. Like, and he's just like, oh, glad to help out the hundos man. And I'm like, yep, help the hundos man go faster. And I'm just like, thumbs up.
Maybe I should try to pass up Found Your Gun again. We've been going back and forth for the past few months on points. Yeah. He's pretty far ahead of me now, but I just gotta like play more levels. I was gonna play Piano 5 Reds next because I have yet to do that, but it seems pretty fun to grind.
Use Reed Strat.
It's the one level where it's actually faster to grind it on console and not practice codes.
It is weird
because when you talk to a Pianta to get thrown on console, it pauses the timer, but in practice codes the timer keeps going. So you actually want to be on console for that.
Oh, it pauses the time. Oh yeah.
So that's the main thing. So.
That's all I really wanted to say about Duolingo. I know I like seamlessly just went from the relay to the Duolingo, but I really did want to talk about streaming Duolingo and how like it's been very interesting. And
cool.
It's just like if you want to learn any Swedish, come by Sided Williams Twitch channel and I'll we'll learn together. I'm not quite there.
Yeah, and that weekly race definitely boosted my confidence if I can just like whip out a low 115. Yeah. If I'm in the right frame of mind. I was in a big VC with like SB, JJ, various other, like low grade Yoshi was there.
Yeah.
And we were having a pretty good time. And I don't know, I guess my mindset must have been different or something. I just had a good run. And it just goes to show any stream now, I could potentially get a top 10 time, which is my main goal right now.
Bait Reed.
Yeah, I got to bait Reed into playing more. That's my primary goal.
Beat Reed, bait Reed, every variation on a B word.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we'll see where my attempts go from here, though.
So is there anywhere else you want to... I wanted to talk about Duolingo really bad, so I'm glad I got that out of the way. But is there anything specific that you want to talk about?
Dark Souls 3.
Oh, yeah.
Is a game. It is hard, as all video games are.
Hey, video games are hard.
And I've officially beaten all 3 Souls games.
Oh, yeah, you beat it. You DM me.
I beat it.
Yeah.
You didn't respond to me, I don't think.
I did read it, and then I think I was sleeping, so I just kind of went back to sleep.
You read it in your sleep?
Through my eyelids, I'm just like, I sense that Trey beat Dark Souls 3, and I'm proud of him.
Well, that's good. At least you're proud of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the playthrough, it wasn't as long as my Dark Souls 1 playthrough, because Dark Souls 1, it's much easier to get lost in.
Yeah.
Remember, I think half of my Dark Souls 1 playthrough, I got lost like on Anne Orlando, not knowing to go to like that church thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think my playthrough, I don't know what the time was. I want to say it was like around close to 50 hours or so.
Whoa.
Which is, not too bad, not too shabby.
Okay.
But I haven't done the DLC yet. I'll do the DLC soon, which I'm looking forward to, because the DLC in Dark Souls 2 has been my favorite Souls content thus far.
Mm-hmm.
But this game was solid. I definitely enjoyed it. It had a lot of really memorable areas.
In Dark Souls 3, do they weave the DLC in like they do in Dark Souls 2? Because
I believe they do, because I've already found... So there's a couple of things. I'm not going to spoil anything in case those out there want to play the game still. I'll minorly spoil like a boss name or something, but
there's a boss. There's a boss with an arm penis.
Sorry, go ahead. What?
There's a boss with an arm penis. That's the spoiler.
Yeah, there's a boss with an arm penis. That's all you get.
That's all you get.
But yeah, what was I gonna say? Shoot.
Got Mark S. Brownlee.
Mark S. Brownlee. Okay. Yeah. So I guess the main thing I was gonna go over, like really like serious gamer discussion wise, gonna give a little take on something. I want to argue that linearity is usually a good thing in a Souls game.
Okay.
And, people like to argue Dark Souls 1, it's great. It has the interconnected map, as KO was saying. It feels so open-ended. You can just go wherever you want. I'm here to say that Dark Souls 1, yeah, it feels like the world is great. I will give you that. Mm-hmm. But it's sort of an illusion of openness in a sense. Because it's still linear. You still have to ring the 2 bells, then go to Sten's Fortress, then go to Anne Orlando, then the 3 Lord Souls, then blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. It's just sort of set up in a way to where you can do whatever you want-ish. But it's still, it's still linear end of the day. It's still like, do this, then this, then this, then the final, you beat Gwen, then boom. And Dark Souls 3, it's a lot less less shameful in its linearity. It's a lot more linear. You just sort of go through an area. Bonfires are just clearly checkpoints. You eventually get to the end of an area when a boss bonfire is just like the end of the area. Mm-hmm. And you just sort of go on. That being said, I actually did get lost in this game once.
Oh yeah?
I was pretty damn lost for a decent period just one time, which led me to attempt a boss, which I deem the hardest boss in the whole Soul series because of how early I played it.
Oh yeah?
But I was unaware of how early I was attempting it, because I thought like, oh, well, I found where to go. Finally, I'm going to beat this boss now. But the Dancer of Boreal Valley, if anyone's aware of that boss who's played this game, mm-hmm. This boss fight, oh man, I did it way earlier than I was supposed to. I didn't know it was earlier than I was supposed to, but apparently I did. I found out later. It took me 3.5 hours to beat this boss. Mm-hmm. Which is longer than my second longest boss to beat, Moonlight Butterfly in Dark Souls 1. And yes, I know, it's like a joke, right? But
that is so funny. Just like, this one's the hardest, and Moonlight Butterfly is the second longest, but it's not...
Yeah. My top 3, like, longest to beat boss fights in the Soul series. Number 1, Dancer of Boreal Valley in Dark Souls 3. Number 2, Moonlight Butterfly, Dark Souls 1. And number 3, I believe, is Fume Knight from Dark Souls 2.
That makes sense.
It took like 2 hours or so. I love Fume Knight. Like after, it took me a long time, but it's actually a really good boss fight.
Yeah.
Once you know what you're doing. But yeah, the Dancer of Boreal Valley took me so long. And like, it's especially hard because like I'm an experienced Souls game player at this point. I know what I'm doing. I'm not like, oh, it's like the 3rd boss I've ever played, Moonlight Butterfly, and I don't have an upgraded weapon at all. I don't know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. This is like, I kind of know what's going on. I actually know that rolling gives you iframes.
You've leveled up to Dark Souls connoisseur.
Yeah, I understand the basic mechanics and the basics of dodging and blocking and everything in the game, and putting fire on your weapon to give it more power, or like against enemies that are weak to fire, all this stuff. Mm-hmm. or like scaling with dexterity and strength. I know what I'm doing. Still took me 3.5 hours. I don't know why. And it didn't help that I went back to like check out some OST stuff on YouTube, read the comments on the Boreal Valley, like, oh yeah, really good song. Beat it first try though, you know? I was like, are you kidding me? Am I this shitty at video games? But no. The main thing is that it was supposed to be done later in the game when you go back to this like Lothric Castle area, like later on. Mm-hmm. But essentially, you can activate this boss super early on because of a thing I'm not going to spoil. Uh-huh. It's just always kind of there. And keep in mind, the reason I got lost in this game is that there was a boss that I beat, and every boss you beat in this game, a bonfire appears and you can warp away. Mm-hmm. I was conditioned at this point to like always assume, oh, bonfire appeared, I warp away, I'm done with this area. Yeah. But I somehow missed the path that continued from that bonfire. Okay. So I just never saw the path that kept going after it. I missed an entire area and instead stumbled upon the Dancer of Boreal Valley way earlier than I should have, and was really frustrated. Yeah. But yeah, the thing about this boss fight is that the first phase was super free, almost always got through the first phase. But the second phase, this boss is just like on crack or something. It would seriously do like 5 to 7 sword attacks in a row in all different rhythms. And I would just have to it was a total crapshoot if I dodged it or not. It was so I couldn't figure out this pattern at all. Mm-hmm. And it got to the point where I had to use the most degenerate tactics to even hope to beat it. Mm-hmm. I would have to run across this entire, you're in a church when you're fighting it. I run across this church area past all the pews and stuff. I would wait until it would do a certain either spin attack or a jump attack onto me into a spin to where I get a chance to get maybe one free hit if I'm lucky. Like
Twilight Princess or Link.
Pretty much. And
spin attack.
I don't know. I just did not feel safe attacking this boss up and close on second phase because it would just do all kinds of the sword attacks. I could not read them, and I would get 2 shots, and it was just it took me so long. But I eventually got through it, and later realized, I missed this path to this area I totally skipped later on. So after I beat that boss, I went through the following area much earlier than I was supposed to too. I actually got through it, without too much trouble because I don't know, maybe I leveled up from this boss fight, who knows? Yeah. But the arguments for linearity in Souls games is to ensure that you're actually at the proper level to where you're at. Okay. Which, I mean, to be fair, it can be exciting, that whole feeling of, you don't know what you're going to encounter. Maybe you'll run into some super high level enemy and get destroyed. It's kind of exciting. But I'm of the mindset of just let me do the stuff that the developers intend me to do at this point. Mm-hmm. So I'm not getting destroyed by one thing, going back later, finding what I should have done earlier and just caking the whole thing. Yeah. Because I went back after finding that section, just breezed through this whole thing that I should have been much lower level for. And I sort of missed the intended experience, I think.
So it didn't scale with you. It just kind of had it set.
The enemies, level. I could just almost one-shot everything. And it was I should have done this much sooner. God damn it. Yeah.
Didn't I hear you before we played Back for Blood? Weren't you talking about KO or talking to KO about this?
Yeah, I actually was about this exact thing.
Yeah, well, before I had joined the call, you guys were talking about all that, and I heard the conversation.
It kind of ruined my experience, not just for the frustration with the hard thing doing it to you early, but not getting the intended experience on the much easier thing early on.
Yeah, that is a shame. Breath of the Wild, a lot of the overworld kind of scales with you as you go.
Breath of the Wild's really good about that. That's true.
Yeah, and it's a shame that I guess Dark Souls 3 doesn't really do that, but it treats itself as an open world, though.
It's possible it does scale to a small degree.
Maybe.
All I know is that what I felt was this area was way too easy when I did it way too late. Mm-hmm. Which isn't a big deal, but it is what it is. Yeah. But yeah, really, really solid game. I don't know. I still got to play the DLC to get my final review on it. The DLC can make or break this game for me.
Yeah, well, I'd be excited to hear what you would give it, or how you would Like, obviously, you'd give it a thumbs up, but like,
oh yeah, it was a great game
past
for
that?
sure.
It's like, what is it? It's the rotten. They're both rotten on the tomato meter, or like they're both
or like fresh.
They're both fresh on the tomato meter, but like, where do they stack? You know?
Yeah, it's hard to say really. I'm almost tempted to go back and play DS1 to like even play the Painted World and stuff that I missed out on.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Oh, yeah,
maybe in the future.
You should go do that. Painted World is so interesting.
I kind of want to see how I would get through DS1, like having the experience that I do now.
Oh, that is.
And like I would not get destroyed by Taurus Demon for 2 hours, even though it's so easy.
Stream it?
I don't know, maybe, possibly.
Cool.
Not anytime soon though, because I gotta like justify spending that much time on that.
Yeah,
but in the future for sure. But yeah, memorable moments. I wrote down like one or two things.
Sure.
There was a fight called like Yorm the Giant. And I remember going into it, I thought that I was like missing a key item or something. Because when you attack him, I had a super strong weapon. I had I was super proud of my build actually. I went for like a high dex build. And I had like some kind of like curved longsword that when it was fully upgraded to like +9 or +10, it had like S tier scaling with dexterity.
It's funny to hear you talk about this, where it's just like a year ago you're just like, what the fuck is Dark Souls?
Yeah.
Like, and now you're just like, yeah, I went for a full dex build +9 longsword, and I'm sitting here going like, yeah, you're past where I am. I don't know.
Actually, so Dark Souls 3, I think, has my favorite forging system because it's like the most easy to understand in a way.
Yeah.
It's very straightforward, and the options you get for like infusing a weapon are there's a lot of variety. You can give like, if you infuse it with a sharp stone, it scales more with dex. And if you give it like a heavy stone or like a something stone, it scales with strength, which I believe Dark Souls 2 and 1 didn't even have. So maybe they did. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had like a sharp something or other +10 at the end of the game. It had S tier dex scaling. It was super powerful. I also had like some kind of axe, which had like, it was like, that was my main weapon for just like doing big damage and like stunning people. But I had like a much lighter weapon more for bosses, so I like maintained stamina better. I knew what I was doing is the bottom line.
Yeah.
I know my shit, even though I still spend like 3 hours on a boss.
Hey, yeah. I spent 9 on one.
But yeah, so Yorm the Giant, it was memorable because I was frustrated. I was like, dude, my weapon's so powerful. Am I missing some kind of item or thing to like, because I was doing like maybe 50 damage per hit and he has like so much health.
Yeah.
I would like do like a pixel of health per hit. And I remember I spent like 10 minutes whittling him down to like halfway health because he actually had like super easy attacks to read. I could like always dodge him essentially. But I was doing so little damage. And then it goes into second phase and he just kills me instantly.
Yeah.
I was like, well, great. I spent 10 minutes doing jack shit because I didn't even know what his second phase would be, and then I just died.
Yeah.
But I later realized, like, okay, so like, what's the answer here? But I noticed, like, I could also, with like the targeting with the C stick, like clicking the stick, there's 2 different targets, like his torso and his head.
Oh.
So I was like, wait, I can target his head. That's kind of weird. And I noticed, like, shooting an arrow at his head, it did more damage than it would hitting his body. I was like, okay. Like, shooting his head over and over again is not going to be viable either, but interesting, you can do that. But I noticed that his head was, like, the same texture as parts of his 2 arms. So I started, like, specifically attacking his arms rather than his feet, because he was a giant. It was much easier to hit his feet. I had to, like, wait till his arms were, like, down after an attack, hit his arm, and after enough arm hits, it would lead to like this animation where like you do some stab into his head and do like a crazy amount of damage. And I don't know, figuring that out was a memorable moment for me. It was like, you gotta hit, like you can still hit him anywhere, but to really do it, to like do any considerable damage, you gotta like hit certain limbs.
Yeah.
And it was fun for sure.
That sounds really cool, and it sounds like something that somebody would spoil as you were spending 10 minutes hitting your legs.
Oh yeah, rather than like, you know, figuring it out myself, someone would be like, "Oh, hit the arms."
Yeah, you should hit the arms. It's like, oh,
bro, hit the arms.
Yeah, but instead it's just like this memorable moment that you have with the game. So,
and then
go ahead. Go for it. No. Go for it.
No, I don't really have any notes. So if you have any questions, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I'm excited to hear what you think overall of the game.
Oh yeah, I wonder if the DLC will surpass Dark Souls 2. I don't know. I just remember the old Ivory King DLC was like my favorite thing ever in like any Souls game.
Well, we're talking about like doing a review or something. I mean, this is a super random question, and it could probably be just the answer of like no. Like I've never thought of that, but like,
no.
like you have, oh, just like me in the, it's like, is that any faster? Is that Rico 100 strat any faster? No,
no,
just no. With Orange doing Noki 100 during the relay today, but you're talking about like doing or reviewing it on the podcast to some extent. Have you ever like thought about, well, now that you're playing more casual games, like maybe doing a review on YouTube or like doing some sort of like visual essay?
For Dark Souls?
Or just a game?
For Elden Ring, here we go. I'm going to get it day one, go in, ham.
I can definitely see you doing it.
I feel like that's a tough niche to just like break into because there's like already so many way more dedicated fans than me.
Hey, we could make a tandem one. Like we both play the game and we both like
maybe
talk about, or like instead of just doing a podcast, like write something out.
I don't know. I don't feel worthy of like making a full scale review of those games because there's already so many dozens on YouTube that like do it so well.
Yeah,
I don't know. Reviewers have like a way with words where like they'll come to conclusions and like notice things that I'll never notice in a million years.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, so that's what that symbolism mean, or like that's what that meant.
To like if you're done with Dark Souls 3, I have a way to like segue.
I've got one more thing to cover.
Yeah.
So I will admit, maybe I'm just like dense or something, but I when I was fighting the final boss, I didn't actually know it was the final boss.
Oh.
That being said, it was an epic boss. I really enjoyed the boss. It was very, very sick.
Lord of Cinder, right?
Oh, you already know?
Well, I've seen gameplay.
It's the dude who's like literally like the face of the game.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, cool, I'm fighting this dude. Finally, yeah, let's go. And it had like amazing, like, also the OST, like they always knock it out of the park with the OST. In particular, the title screen music is so good. I would sometimes sit in the title screen for like 2 minutes, not playing the game, and like just listen to it, like pump myself up, and start playing the game.
I didn't know that the title sequence or a title card would even have a
because
music.
In Dark Souls 1, there's no music at all.
Yeah, you just sit on the Dark Souls 1 and it's just like, oh, it's just
like you hit the button, it's like, like okay.
Exactly. It's like the Soul Calibur 2, and then you hit it.
And like the weapon noise.
Yeah, the clang. Yeah.
But Dark Souls 3 has title screen music, and it's so freaking good. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's like it's so like beautiful and emotional. It's like
Yeah.
But yeah, final boss was super cool. Even though I didn't know it was the final boss, I think the reason I didn't know it was the final boss is it's a really weird setup to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like clearly it's sort of like a final area in the way I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a weird setup to where you have the option when you warp to this area to like run up to like the area where the boss fight is, or there's like 2 bonfires sitting next to you that allow you to warp to like a separate level area that's totally optional.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming it's DLC because like why else would it be there? I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was thinking like, okay, I have options. I can either fight the Lord of Cinder or warp to this level area. I guess I'll fight this guy first. Why not? And then it was the final boss. I was like, oh, the credits are here. What the fuck?
You beat the game!
Yeah. But luckily, it's set up like Dark Souls 2 where it doesn't force you into New Game Plus. You can still continue on that file. And then you can choose the New Game Plus whenever you want. So
yeah.
I didn't screw myself or anything, so we're good.
Yeah, you decided, it's just like, I'll go down left path or right path. There's this fork in the road. I'll go left. Oh, the game's over.
Yeah, it's like, it was weird I had the option of final boss or level that's totally pointless. It's I don't know. It's weird, right?
Yeah, that is a weird.
So I'm assuming it's DLC, but again, Dark Souls, they're as like obtuse as possible. They're not going to just like explicitly say this is DLC.
Yeah.
It's like you have to just sort of figure out, oh, I guess this is DLC. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I did with Dark Souls 2, where it's just like, oh.
Yeah, we did the same thing in that game.
Yeah, it's just like, Fume Knight and Nothing. You get this crown.
You get a crown, and no progress towards the game.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, you still have to beat another Great Soul. I'm like, oh, I thought that was the last one.
Yeah, we both fell for that. The way it's set up, like, I get it. It's supposed to just feel like you're in this world, and it's not like a video game or something.
Yeah.
But at least be like a little clear, like, hey, this is extra content. You don't have to do this. So.
Yeah, it's just like what is it? You beat the Great Iron King?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. King?
Yep. And then you go down, and then it's just like, oh, and there's this door. I'm like, oh, I guess
it seems like the natural progression because there's just like a door after it. It's like, oh, this is the next area. Okay.
It's like, oh, I need to go find this key, and then you find the key in like the forest area, and you're just like, oh, okay, and then you go, and then I thought it was going to be literally the final area, but no, I need another Great Soul, and I still haven't beaten Dark Souls 2, but yeah.
You should just like restart the playthrough at this point.
Maybe maybe I'll stream
because
it.
I don't know if you have this thing. I have this thing where like if I put a game down for too long, I can't just like pick it up again.
Oh, I did this. I did it with Bloodborne. We're still like in the Dark Souls series. I did that exactly with Bloodborne, and I would have to start it all over again if I tried to because it's
been years for that.
Yeah, I just put it down, and 6 months later I turned it back on, and even after just 6 months, I was just like, yeah, this is like I'm in a really hard part of the game, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do, or I don't know how to really get comfortable again, I guess.
Right. Yeah. But yeah. I guess that's all I had for that game.
I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah, I'm wondering if, because they actually delayed Elden Ring until like February or something. I believe it's February. I'm wondering if I have time to get to like Sekiro or something.
Ooh.
Because I was thinking like, Sekiro exists. It's on PC. Maybe I'll try that out.
That sounds sick.
I know that like Samurai Man actually did like challenge runs of that game and stuff. He's a god gamer though. So.
Unless you need like a break game, because I know lately with like Vanquish Godhard and just speedruns and everything, I've felt like I needed like kind of a break game.
Oh
like,
yeah, possibly.
Yeah, where it's just like, oh, I'm trying to beat the hardest games of all time, Celeste,
or maybe
like Vanquish Godhard and stuff.
Maybe as a group we will focus on Segue, by the way. Yeah. Focus more on Back 4 Blood.
Yeah.
And actually push through that game. And so we started playing it, and actually I'm probably going to use the gameplay on this podcast.
Yeah, Back 4 Blood.
And I played it initially like a month ago or so, or like whenever it like first released roughly, with some other friends of ours like Juaniza, Healthier Puff, and Dapper Pinguino. For some reason, we just weren't super feeling it. We're like, this is kind of cringe. There's like a weird continue system that punishes you too much. And we couldn't really get into it.
Yeah,
but then we tried it again a few weeks later. It was you, me, KO, and Dappy.
Yeah, speaking of Dappy again.
And we were having a blast, honestly.
Dude, the vibes were so fun.
We were resetting quite a bit on this one level, but the vibes were high. We were in good spirits.
Yeah. And like we were trying to like figure it out together. We were staying on the harder difficulty. I know you guys went down to the easier difficulty.
Yeah, so the main reason we went down to the easiest difficulty initially is they're actually like super punishing with checkpoints in this game.
Yeah.
On the easy difficulty, you get a checkpoint like for taking a shit, you get a checkpoint. On veteran mode, the middle difficulty that we're doing, you only get a checkpoint for like every 2 levels that you beat. So if you beat one level and then die the next one, you got to start over at the beginning of the first level. Yeah. And we actually, so we finally managed to get to like the first checkpoint on veteran. It wasn't easy, but we beat level 3 then one time, attempted level 4. We're doing super well. Forgot that it was like an infinite spawn segment that we eventually lost.
Not even forget. You forgot.
I forgot because I actually played that on easy mode.
We hadn't played it. We were doing so well. Like we were team coordinating, killing all the special infected. But the thing about like mission 4 is that you have to start the infected like horde sequence and then run. And we stayed still.
And I was like sort of worried. Like I remember that we just like ran through it, but I was like, well, we were on easy mode. Yeah. I don't know if running through is going to cut it on the harder mode. Yeah. But yeah, that's what we were supposed to do.
we had a bunch of big arm berries come our way, and we were like handling it pretty. Like the special infect, like when we say special infected, like in Left 4 Dead, the special infected in Back 4 Blood are so much easier or harder to kill. Much harder.
Dude, the worst of all, big arm berry.
Big arm berry. The boomers are like the boomers in Left 4 Dead, the explodable like vomit filled infected that just like cover you and attract the horde. There's different versions of it in Back 4 Blood, but they're so much harder to kill. And
the thing about this game, especially in level 3, they will like hide in the forest where you can't even see them.
Yeah.
And they'll just like, they'll puke from like a stealthy position to where you can't shoot them, but they'll puke all over you.
Yeah.
And it's so unfair, but you just gotta like get around that.
The teamwork is so much more important in Back 4 Blood than it is Left 4 Dead. Like,
see, I'm not as well versed in Left 4 Dead as you, I believe.
Yeah.
So I don't really know how to compare them as much, but like whatever you say, like I believe.
Yeah, it's so like, sure, it's like, oh, there's a smoker, and just like smoker on me, and then you turn around and just shove him, and then the smoker just kind of like fucks off. But like in this one, you're just like, oh, I'm trapped and I'm gonna die from this like spitter goo.
Yeah, like you're literally trapped.
Yeah, and you can't move, you can't do anything. It's same with like Smoker to some extent, but like I feel like the special infecteds in Back 4 Blood, even from the 2 sessions we had, they're just so much more punishing if you don't pay attention to your teammates. It's like, oh, Big Arm Barry behind, you all have to pay attention to that.
Yeah, so there's a guy, his name is Big Arm Barry.
Yeah, but we don't actually know what the names of all of these are.
He slams his big arm on you.
Yeah.
But he requires so many hits. He has weak points, but they're kind of hard to hit when he's like charging at you.
Yeah,
and he literally charges so fast at you that if you're backing up, he outruns you.
Yeah.
So the only way to beat him is to like shoot him a bit, turn around and sprint, turn around and like shoot him again.
Yeah, and have your teammates be communicating with you to like maybe bait him back or whatever. And the fact that it's not just like at first I was like, oh, it's kind of lame that they have weak points instead of just shooting the infected. But I think it's much more interesting and it makes it so much more difficult because like, sure, you can cause damage to them by just shooting anywhere on their body. But they do have this like shoot the glowy bits essentially.
But yeah, if you don't shoot the glowy bits, they take so much damage. Like they have so much health.
Yeah, they just take so much time to kill. And it feels like with each special infected, you all have to teamwork instead of like, oh, these two are kind of working together. Oh, you can deal with a hunter, like you can just kind of put him into stun lock with the shove. But like special infected in this game are just like, no, shoves aren't really going to affect us, and you have to hit our weak spot and and like if we grab you and your teammates aren't close, you are dead. You're dead.
And there's also just like, casual Dark Souls-esque enemies called ogres. Oh, that are just like enormous things that have like the Dark Souls health bar, in fact.
I feel like we got to the point with the ogre, like the giant Dark Souls-esque boss, that it was more comfortable to see him than some special infected.
Oh yeah, I would take ogres over 2 Big Arm Berries any day of the week.
Dude, that one during our first session we went through the first 2 checkpoints. No, we didn't even actually get our first session. We were in high spirits. We didn't even get to the first checkpoint. We were doing like we did the first level over and over again, and we figured out a strat to like go through like when we had to pick up and go. And then the second level we actually clutched on the second playthrough or the second session, and I clutched it out. We don't have gameplay of it.
You ran to the end when all of us were like dead.
You guys got destroyed by the ogre, and I'm like, I am out. And I know in I've played enough Left 4 Dead. It's just like, okay, you're all hopeless, or like not you're all hopeless. you're all dead, and I have no hope of saving you.
To be fair, we were hopeless.
I'm just gonna try to clutch this attempt and run and hope that nothing comes in my way. And like the ending of that level is like I'm so sad that I didn't local record it. But it was it felt so clutch because there were so many special infected behind me and the ogre, and then like one of the boomers spawned in front of me. And when I say boomer, and a Left 4 Dead player would be like, oh yeah, that's nothing. No, that's still like there's so much more of a presence.
And even the boomers are so tanky sometimes.
And he had spawned on like the small narrow stairwell I had to climb up. So I did like this jump around him, went up the stairwell, opened the door. And like I had gotten there before in like one of the previous attempts and gotten through the door, but the special infected kept like pouring in, or just like the regular infected, and I couldn't close the door in order to end the level. And I had clutched it just hard, like I got puked on, and I was just like running like half blind trying to get to this safe room because I knew where it was now, and then shut the door, and then I'm just like, yes, I had 4 health left, and it was like the clutchest moment of and we were all like, and because the checkpoint system in the harder difficulty is so much like less lenient. It's just like, oh, you beat the 2 levels, you finally get a checkpoint, and
yeah,
we're just
you finally get a checkpoint for beating 2 levels.
Yeah, and we're just like the equivalent of what Left 4 Dead is. It's like the one level is just like, oh, you beat the special infected, and it goes through all of your like, oh, you guys made this many melee kills as it loads in the next one. Like that's a checkpoint. In this one, you have to do for the harder difficulties 2.
I remember playing Left 4 Dead. What little I did, there were like little checkpoints within the level.
Yeah.
You would like get so and so far, and then checkpoint, cool. We're still in this level though. But this was like you have to beat 2 entire levels.
Yeah,
and then you're good to go.
And I do like the so what I was getting to is like the start of the next level. There was one instance where the ogre showed up, and the ogre was showing up at the beginning of the second level as well. So that was like the big issue.
Doesn't Yoa show up there?
Yeah.
Or you mean the third level?
No, I mean he was showing up at the beginning of the second level, just like we had seen him before. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah.
And in the beginning of the third level, there was one instance where we got the ogre, and we got every special infected at the exact same time. And we were just like we just rolled the worst. Like we got snake eyes, and we hated it.
And we actually survived.
Yeah, and we definitely survived. I like the system in in Back 4 Blood with like the cards and stuff. Like I know some people don't like it, but I've gotten way more comfortable with it. I think
it's growing on me. It was kind of weird to me at first, and I don't know how to build like an optimal build. Like Dappy was going off, but like I have like this berserker build thing. Like I don't know what this guy's talking about.
Well, see, what's funny is like Dappy, I don't think has played much more than us, like at all.
Dude, Dappy is actually super woke. He just like figures everything out. It seems like.
Yeah, he just like he figured out a melee build. Yeah,
I didn't understand the card system at all until he explained it to me.
Yeah,
and furthermore, I was saying like, oh yeah, I gotta have the knife. The knife is like a guaranteed card that I always get. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, you could use the bat because the bat and just like, not have the knife card because even using like a melee bat still combined with the card where you get 2 extra health back per melee kill, it still counts for that.
Yeah.
And like, maybe I'll just use the bat instead, like not even have the knife. So.
In our instance when we got to level 4 and we were just like fending off the special infected, he was just like, we were all working together. You, KO, and I, or like whatever. We were all just like working together. Dappy was just like in the corner, or like not in the corner, but like on the other side of the map, just like wailing on zombies and just not dying because he would like get hit and then get his health back with whatever card management.
The number one like early game combo, because I'm sure there's gonna be more cards later on.
Oh yeah.
Is the card where you get 2 health back per melee kill and just swing the bat like crazy.
Yeah.
I think Dappy also combined that with like a stamina rebuilding card for like each thing. I didn't actually have that card. I would have used it otherwise.
Yeah.
But yeah, stamina also is like pretty. It recharges slowly, which I noticed.
Yeah, I'm glad that I started using the stamina recharge one because I don't think I would have been able to clutch the second checkpoint, and we might still be there.
Like I don't remember stamina being that valuable in Left 4 Dead.
No,
But in this game, stamina is so crucial.
See, in Left 4 Dead, there's no running. Like there's like you can't sprint. You're just holding the gun the whole time and going forward. In Back 4 Blood, there's a sprint, and they've factored in this stamina system, and it also works with your shove. So like in Left 4 Dead, initially, like the first Left 4 Dead, you could just shove kind of forever. So like a lot of strats for like expert playthroughs of some Left 4 Dead levels is just kind of like get in the corner like with all 4 people and just kind of have the 2 people in the back shoot and then have the 2 front shove for life. And like there's some instances in like I can't the forest level, I can't remember what exactly it was, but there's like a doorway that was a strat in, and
oh yeah, we never mentioned there's also friendly fire.
Yeah, friendly fire.
And there was many a friendly fire accidentally happening, but yeah, it's a part of the challenge.
Like there are some strats where I'm just like, the rule number 1 in Left 4 Dead is don't back them and shoot. But it's so hard in Back 4 Blood because the special infected are so scary.
Yeah, and also furthermore, like there's sort of like effects that can happen to you where like you're just covered in blood and stuff.
Yeah,
and I'll shoot someone because like this dude just covered in blood comes up to me. It looks like a zombie to me, and I shoot.
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh wait, that's Dappy. Shoot.
but it's good that none of us got like mad at that. Like,
oh yeah, dude. If someone shoots me, like I totally understand.
Well, yeah, and it's not like anybody's trying to. Moment. Yeah, in the heat, like I can imagine some players being like, "Bro, what the fuck?" But like all 4 of us, we were just kind of like, "Yeah, it happens." But whatever, like what I was trying to say about the stamina. So in Left 4 Dead 1, you just kind of have infinite. And in Left 4 Dead 2, they added like this cap where it's just like after a certain amount of shoves, there's this like little loading essentially thing that happens in the middle of your screen where you can't shove until that comes back. And so Back 4 Blood, I think they did really well with the stamina system where it's just like they added a sprint and they made like the melee attack cost stamina. So or like the shove mechanic, essentially the punch that you do.
Oh, also wait, that reminds me of one thing that I really appreciate in Dark Souls 3.
Sure.
Is so in Dark Souls 1 and 2, the system with like any spells or pyromancy is that you have like a limited number of uses for like, soul arrow, you get like 12 uses of it. Mm-hmm. But there's actually an FP bar in Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
So you can level up your attunements and get more FP. And as you level up your FP bar, you can like use more of certain spells. Mm-hmm. So it's not just like, like a hard capped, only 12 of this soul arrow, no matter how high level you are.
Okay.
If you get more FP, you can use it more often. And also,
like
you can like allot different, there's an Estus flask for your health and one for your FP.
Oh.
And using the blacksmith, you can allot the number of each kind that you have, like 7 and 3, 6 and 4. And it's really nice. I like that feature.
Yeah, but just to like finish up about Back 4 Blood, like they really integrated.
Like, that's the point I want to
No.
make.
So it's like a mana bar.
Yeah, it's like a mana bar.
Oh, cool.
FP, whatever.
Yeah, I've never played Dark Souls 3, so I don't know. But I think Back 4 Blood really integrated the stamina system really well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so that's our first, like after a month, like I hadn't played it yet. Trey played it the one time, but I'm glad we had such a good time with it.
It's definitely more fun on the harder difficulty despite the punishing checkpoint system. Mm-hmm. Because we were playing on easy and like, you don't even have to use teamwork on easy. There's no friendly fire really. And the special infected die like in 2 hits. And it's like, okay, well.
Yeah.
But on hard, it's actually like, we're like trying to just survive out here.
We're not even on hard.
Oh yeah, we're not on Nightmare.
Yeah, we're
on Nightmare. There's no checkpoints at all.
We're on the like medium difficulty, and
but like it's called veteran. Like it's hard. Come on.
Yeah, it is hard, but we're on like
it's like there's hard, then there's God hard.
Dude, I'm so like once we put like more time into it and like figure out how to make it all work, I think it would be such a fun time just like to figure out all the strats and the builds and just like working together on it, but.
Dude, I just need Dappy to explain a good build to me, then I'll do it. I suck at that kind of stuff, like figuring out the optimal setup and stuff. Mm-hmm. I was pretty good in Dark Souls 3 because of like playing 2 games before, but like usually I'm kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I'll just try this.
Do you want to talk about the memorable moments in Back 4 Blood? I wrote some of them down.
Oh, I don't have any, but yeah, go for it.
The tree.
The tree. I forgot the memorable moment. No.
You stuck in the tree.
Oh yeah. Okay, can I go over the glitches that we encountered?
Dude, go over the glitches.
Because I think I encountered more glitches than anyone in our playthrough. Mm-hmm. So there was a moment where we were like going through the forest level.
Yeah.
And I was being chased by a big arm berry, as I always am.
Yep.
And I'm like backing up, and then suddenly I can't move. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to back up, but I can't go anywhere. What am I stuck on? And then like you saved me, you killed the berry. And I'm trying to move and I can't move. And it turns out I'm standing next to 2 trees, but I'm literally just stuck between the 2 trees.
Yeah.
And I had no idea how that happened.
And I stupidly jumped in with you.
Yeah, and then you also got stuck on the same area.
I'm just like, I'm stuck too. I was like trying to shove you out or something, and it's just like, now you're stuck.
And then like they tried killing us and then reviving us, and we were still stuck, so we just had to reset.
So they had to kill us, and we had to give up. We had to like
we had to just like respawn. Yeah, we pretty much lost at that point.
Let them try to like go continue on, and then they just got like big arm buried and spittered and whatever.
Yeah. Because if you don't have your full team, you're screwed.
Oh, you are like being 2 duos every so often. Like It's funny, like in Left 4 Dead, I would be like, oh yeah, you two stick together and us two will stick together, and it's so effective. But like and you just kind of like passively kind of watch each other. But like even on expert to that extent. But in like the second tier difficulty in Back 4 Blood, I was just like, okay, you and like I remember leaving you and Dap Yee together and being like, okay, you guys watch each other's back, and I'm gonna go with KO because he's going back to like the toolkit room or whatever. And I was just like, I'm not gonna leave him alone because if he runs into anything, he dies.
Oh yeah,
and
if you're alone, you're like as good as dead if you don't run away.
but in like Left 4 Dead, you can just kind of be like, oh okay, I'm gonna go back to the toolkit or like whatever equivalent collectible room. It's just like, oh yeah, okay, you'll be back. Like, but I was just like, I actually need to follow you. Like I need to be with you. And
the other main glitch we encountered was there's an animation for if you fall off a ledge where you're hanging on the ledge. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, no character has the upper body strength to just pull themselves up.
Same with Left 4 Dead.
You just have to, you're hanging on the ledge until someone saves you, or you just give up, or you die eventually.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, whatever, it's a gameplay mechanic, it makes sense. Mm-hmm. But there were a couple times where we were hanging off of ledges that were located over the level, not like an out of bounds area.
Yeah.
Like there's an area where like you jump off of a little cliff into a lower section. Mm-hmm. And the first time we got there, I tried just like falling off, and I ended up just hanging on the ledge, like over ground, like 5 feet below me.
Yeah.
And I think everyone else already jumped down, and you can't get back up there, so I just had to give up.
Yeah, you had to fall down. Like I remember climbing back up to the extent that I could and trying to like reach out with like my virtual arms and like try to be as close as possible and press E, but then I kept falling down and getting the 20 damage. It's funny because like if you had acknowledged it after that, like if you had just fallen down and not like done anything strategically, you would have gotten like 20 damage. But the game was just like, oh, you fell off and you need to be helped up. So it's just like,
and then an even more egregious time in that when we called the final horde one time, there's like an area where like you can climb up like little platforms onto like a little roof next to those pipes you can shoot from,
like a little train like a little train.
Yeah, the pain train, right?
The train little track area. Mm-hmm.
And I was climbing up ledges to get back up to this section to shoot zombies from, and literally hanging from a ledge, my feet were like touching the ground below me. Mm-hmm. I was in the hanging animation, like someone has to save me.
Yeah,
but my feet were like on the ground. It was like, what the fuck? How is this happening?
Yeah, so instead of just like you being a person shooting, you're just like, oh, now I'm in this animation for some reason that I need to be helped up, and so like one of us had to like distract, like from like the most crucial part of the level, we had to like try to route it, and then we lost.
Like somehow I got into a hanging animation just from trying to climb up something. Like I don't know how that happened. But
so another one. So the mission 1 clutch, my mission 1 clutch that I already went through was one of my favorite moments. But the dude I found it moment. So like after the train sequence that we were just talking about, the final horde of that little segment, that the third level, we were just like finishing up the level. We were continuing on. We were
this is so funny.
We were working on together, and then we like entered the building. I wrote these down on notes.
This was our first time ever getting past that horde section.
And we like entered the building, and we were just like, the safe room's got to be close by, and we were just like going through.
There was literally a message saying, get to the safe room. So I was like, okay, it's coming up.
And Trey goes in. So like, there's this stairwell. So where the safe room was like at the top of the building. There's this stairwell leading up to like this second floor, and then the next stairwell up was going to the third floor, and there was the safe room. And Trey on the second floor before the stairwell that goes to the actual safe room, he just goes like, "Oh, I found it!" Opens a security door, which sets an alarm off, and walks in and goes like, wait, and then and it's like a room that's just a blanket empty room, and he's just sitting there, and he's just like, oh, I guess it's not. So he's just like, dude, I found it. Dude, walks in super excitedly.
I had so much adrenaline because I was just like, dude, we better not fail because we finally got past this part. And I was just looking for like any door. I was like, okay, as soon as I find a door, that's got to be it, right? And there's an openable door here. Like, why else would it be here? It's got to be it, right?
It's got to be it.
But there's a door. They bothered to put a door that opens to literally nothing for some reason. Just like an empty room.
It was a security door too, and we like that session.
But it's why would that be there?
It was just like, oh, he found any door. It's just like, oh, I found it. Just like, here's a door.
And so I ended up like, I'm like stuck in this room, like zombies are like coming in.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to like fight my way through everyone. And then we eventually just like run up the stairs and we barely make it.
You might see the gameplay during this this podcast of him being like, just imagine when he opens that door, he's just like, oh, I found it, and then he's just like with KO in that room, just like fending off all these zombies, and Dappy and I are just like maybe on the higher floor or whatever.
Yeah, and you're like, God damn it, Trey.
You're just any you just see any door and you're just like open it. After we
I was so desperate for a door. I would go in any door at that point.
And it's funny because we spent so much time talking about like the alarm doors in that during that session. It's just like figuring out why they trigger or whatever. But you just walk into this alarm door and we just have, because of you, we just have to go through this one little bit of horde in order to
hey, it made it more exciting, right?
Yeah.
So actually, I think we consistently figured out that like the levels we played so far, the ideal way to beat the level is always to like run to the ending and like just ignore the final wave of enemies.
Yeah.
I think that's the case in because like you clutched out level 2 by like just running past everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the final area, level 2, there's simply just too much shit to deal with.
There is a lot of stuff.
There was like every kind of enemy, an ogre. It's like I don't even know what's happening.
Like the ogre does his second appearance and like all the special infected are coming out.
Yeah, we only got through it by like sacrificing us as tribute while Sid runs to the end.
it wasn't like, okay, you guys stay here, bait everything, I'm gonna run. It's like, oh, you guys are all dead. See ya.
Yeah, it was just like, okay, whoever's still alive, just run to the end.
Yeah,
it happened to be Sid. So
it was just like my Left 4 Dead senses kicked in. I'm like, well, you're all done. You're hopeless, as it were. Yeah. And then I'm moving on and seeing how far I can get.
I don't think we could have beaten that part legitimately without like a lot more effort. Like that was tough.
Maybe it's similar to like the end of the fourth level that we ended up being putting on.
I remember the ending of the 4th level not being too bad on easy mode because you're literally, from what I recall, you go to like this cliffside, you're shooting with like a turret back at like some zombies on a ship. Mm-hmm. You pick up some bombs, plant the bombs, and then exit the ship like within a minute or something, and that's pretty much the whole mission.
Yeah.
But it's probably going to be harder on hard mode, of course. So.
Yeah, well, I think our squad is like really fun to play with. So
yeah, it's really fun, and we're definitely getting better. I'm a little worried given how difficult just the first levels are.
Do you know what I kind of when we do our next session, I kind of want to start with the first mission again. And it's like just like to see if we can just kind of one shot it and see how it goes. But
I think the second mission's still going to own us though.
But I think it would be more rewarding. Like maybe not cart like build wise we can like have a good build and then continue. Maybe it affects.
I don't know.
Like
we'll see.
But yeah, Back 4 Blood was.
I don't fully understand like how you acquire cards and stuff. They just kind of show up. I'm like, okay.
You have to spend your supply points.
Oh yeah, I've been doing that, but like. And I'll like finish a supply line. I'm like, cool.
I wish I had an interest to play it solo, but I never did with Left 4 Dead. And I think it's just so much more fun and just as a group. And I don't want to play with randoms online. So
I figured you had to play with a group in this game.
Yeah, no, you can do solo. You can do with 3 computer players, but it's not.
Oh, right, with bots.
Yeah, with bots.
There's always 4 people though.
Bot Jim. You can play with Bot Jim.
For some reason, when you have to revive someone, it always says bot.
Yeah, it always calls them the bot until it's just Trey's here.
I guess it says that because technically you're not controlling him when you had to revive him.
Yeah.
So it's a bot until you save it, then it's me. So.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be a Jim main, then I became a Doc main.
I'm a mom main.
Not Dr. Mario, but like Doc in the game.
Yeah, Doc. Oh yeah, because she wears the same gloves you do at work.
Yeah, she wears the same purple gloves I wear when I'm at my lab at my job. So I was like, oh yeah.
I think being a mom main is good for me because I think my strongest attribute in those Left 4 Dead, like my aim isn't like incredible or whatever. Like facing bots is way easier for me, or like zombies.
Oh yeah, my aim is terrible. That's why I like fighting zombies and not like human opponents.
Yeah, like human opponents in like Overwatch or like everybody can just kind of destroy me because they're just like oh they're little jukes or whatever. But like special or infected or whatever, very predictable, and you just kind of know where to shoot. But like the mom character has abilities to like help out. My strongest ability in Left 4 Dead is like being very aware of what's going on and like shooting at like covering people's backs like seeing that Trey has like a zombie on his right and like trying to shoot him or shoot the zombie without shooting him.
Trey.
Yeah, trying to shoot Trey so that it's helping the zombie out. You know, that's
trying
my
to help the zombie out. Shoot Trey. Be like, yo, zombie, don't worry about it. Right?
But yeah, I like try to shoot the zombie without shooting Trey because like sure you could be like Trey on your right when you can't do anything, but like I'm trying to without him having to like distract from what he's shooting at or focusing on. I'm trying to like snipe the head of the zombie beside him so that he doesn't have to like, oh, there's somebody to his right.
Oh, yeah.
But Mom like has this instant pickup in each level you play. You can just kind of this 2-second revive that is very useful in like clutch situations. And I'm very about just like reviving my teammates or healing my teammates. That like, oh, you need health and I have health kits. Like I'm going to give you it. I am
glad. Like one thing I realized is that they're pretty lenient with the money they give you.
Oh yeah,
like I can always afford all the ammo I want, a health kit, like whatever I need.
Yeah,
so that's good.
But it's fun. At first I was like, oh, credits, ew. But then I'm just like, oh, this is actually really good. Another like team building thing that wasn't ever a thing in Left 4 Dead is the ammo.
Dude, ammo runs out so easily if you're not paying attention to it.
Even if you are.
a good setup to have like a pretty wide variety of weapon types between the four of you.
Yeah.
And that way you're always carrying the ammo you're not using to hand to someone else when they need it.
Yeah, it just adds, like, sure, you're all covering each other's back for, like, the special infected or whatever, just having each other's back in that sense. But at the same time, it's just like, ammo management. And it doesn't sound like the most interesting thing, but it's really nice to just be like, oh, I need submachine gun. It's like, oh, what do you need? Like everybody has this, like, back and forth. And, like, the team building, I feel like, is even deeper than Left 4 Dead, which is really cool.
That's also why I like Doc, because she starts with a submachine gun weapon versus Jim has like some sniper ammo weapon I wasn't really a fan of. And the submachine gun, I don't know what the actual weapon was specifically, but I like the weapon a lot more. Mm-hmm. And so I've sort of like switched to that. And every character has like their own minor qualities to them.
I'm glad we finally played because we like finally were just like, okay,
we bought it. We bought it right when it came, or like pre-ordered it pretty much.
Yeah, we definitely pre-ordered
it. And then didn't finally get around to playing it till like a month later.
Yeah, and I'm glad we finally did because I was like, oh man, I spent $90 on this. Like,
yeah. By the way, from now on, I'm not going to spend money till I know we're playing it because there's a universe where we just like never played it.
Yeah, but like for a month I was just like, oh, we never like that's like what a dumb thing. I already regret buying Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl.
Oh yeah, that was your Mario Golf purchase for you.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I kind of enjoyed Mario Golf, but
I played for an hour against what is it, the Niles Thornberry, and then it was just like, yeah, okay, fine.
I don't know, something about how the game looked just screams like thing that'll die out in a week to me.
And it did. And
I called it, so there we go.
And like it was so surprised. Like I remember Plup, like seeing Plup's reactions, like what while he was streaming, he's like, how is it so dead so fast? Like
it's crazy. Like no one plays it anymore.
but I was having that moment with Back 4 Blood, and like since we've played it twice, I'm like, oh, this is actually like really fun, and I've like versus Left 4 Dead. I played so much Left 4 Dead with like friends of mine, and this is like I do not regret buying it whatsoever now. Like because I think we're just gonna keep playing it.
I was regretting it the first time I played with like Quan and Riddell and the others because it was just kind of like, Dapper was calling it cringe over and over again. the vibes weren't very good, but I was vibing in our recent playthrough.
No, we were just like randomly.
We were just like singing all kinds of songs and having a good time.
Should I stay or should I go now?
If I leave, it could be double. And there's a 15% chance it could be triple.
Yeah, just like random. What was it? The replay song. Na 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 every day. we were going down like just like these song lists and just randomly what is it?
My iPod stuck in replay.
I walk this lonely road, and then just changing random lyrics to it as we're just like
we had our own playlist.
Yeah, but like we were just singing it and just kind of like shoving them all together. It's just like I walk this lonely road. If I leave, it could be double. And just like mashing it all together, and we're just like having a grand old time. Like while we're just like we had just gotten destroyed, and we're waiting for the next
somehow
lobby.
We're doing this while like redoing the level for the 20th time. Like I don't know. I guess that's a sign of a good game or something.
Yeah, we were like waiting for the lobby to fill again, and we're just like singing, shooting the targets in the field beside the hub area, and we're just like singing to one another about just like dumbass shit, and it was really fun, and yeah, I'm excited to play more of it.
Yeah, should be good.
Yeah. Another thing, so I wanted to. You did a smooth transition from Dark Souls 3 to Back 4 Blood.
We got something else.
I had a smooth transition from Dark Souls 3. We were talking about like review content and whatever. It's just like being able to like do a retrospective or whatever. I've been watching a lot of. There's a Liam Triforce. I've been watching.
Oh yeah, you linked that to me. I also saw that in my recommended. I didn't watch it though.
Yeah, I think I watched his Majora's Mask, and if anybody knows like anything about me, Majora's Mask is my favorite game of all time.
Did you watch the GameCube retrospective?
I did.
What'd you think of it?
I thought it was good. I like.
Was it very like opinionated or more just like, oh, here's what happened, here's how they are, blah blah blah.
Like here's why all of it happened, and like here's all the great games that were on it, and the unique,
Mario Sunshine sucks,
and the unique style. No, everybody loves Sunshine.
Okay, go on. Sunshine is like half and half hate love.
Oh yeah. Well,
there's no like on the fence with Sunshine.
Yeah, he was just like, oh, I love Sunshine, I love Monkey
so he
Ball.
Loves it. But also
he talked a lot about Monkey Ball, which is interesting.
It would be equally as valid to be like, yeah, Sunshine's the weakest 3D Mario game.
But yeah, exactly. But he like went through all the like interesting ways that the GameCube like talked about like or revamped controls and stuff like,
and how the graphics still look good to this day.
Yeah, and just
unlike 64.
Like Nintendo's just like flourishment on the GameCube and like how that affected like it's a good video with Liam Triforce.
Okay.
I've subscribed to him and watched like a bunch of his retrospectives on Majora's Mask and Luigi's Mansion. I actually watched his Luigi's Mansion one. But what I wanted to mention, we were talking about you were talking about the open world in Dark Souls 3 as well, and I mentioned Breath of the Wild for a moment. From a YouTube creator called Mock Rock. I didn't link this to you because I'm not quite done it yet.
That sounds so familiar.
He has a Breath of the Wild retrospective that like I'm clawing my way through, and when I say clawing my way through, you'll know why in a second. It's 4.5 hours long.
Dude, there's a video that Pyrocynical put out recently that is over 7 hours long.
Yeah.
And it's been sitting in my watch later since it came out because I want to like start tackling it. Because I think Pyrocynical makes good stuff. Mm-hmm. Because I really enjoyed, he has like other videos like the greatest show you've never seen. Like he's done that like sort of like that's his long form content sort of title type is like the greatest blank you've never seen. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoy those videos. And this is going to be, I don't know how this is 7 hours long, but I'm honestly curious just from the length alone.
Like we were talking about like a month ago or whatever about like extremely long content. We were talking about like the Doctor Who analysis and
like how it was more taboo. Like when I put my hour-long history video quota out.
The quota.
It was a lot more taboo. It was like hour-long video. Like what is this, a movie? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But now it's like 5-hour video. Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, I saw in my recommended for like this Breath of the Wild retrospective. I'm like 4.5 hours, and I'm just like, oh, I didn't know people did retrospectives like super long about video games.
I just remember like one of my favorite things when I beat the DLC in Dark Souls 3. I can't wait. I'm gonna check out Joseph Anderson's critique of it.
Oh yeah,
because Joseph Anderson also a good YouTuber of various long form critiques of stuff.
The Witness. Yeah, that's the one that I really enjoyed from him. But yeah, so I've been watching this retrospective on Breath of the Wild and like going into like deep, like super deep dives. It's just like, oh, it's one of my favorite games of all time, but this is also why it's horrible. And,
did he mention combat as like, yeah, it gets kind of samey?
Yeah, he goes like into depth about a lot of stuff, and I wouldn't do it any justice.
Okay, so my key thing, I think the one thing that would really fix Breath of the Wild combat is have it similar to Dark Souls, where you can only heal when you're like literally still fighting.
Oh, like what's funny is
like
that
not just be able like to pause and heal as much as you want.
Yeah,
like if you have to heal like in the overworld and it takes time to do, that's much more balanced and more challenging.
Yeah, he does mention at some point like how trivial health becomes, but it's more of a like, oh, if like the cooking mechanics could be so interesting, like the amount of recipes in this game, but like you trivialize it with the fact that like I would talk about how if you cook a durian, you just get a full health refill plus 4 gold hearts, and you're just like, from cooking a durian, like literally cooking a durian.
The problem, like with human nature, is that humans want to optimize stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can just optimize the fun out of a game to where you find the optimal thing to do, like just cook a truffle, like the hearty truffle.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why would I cook anything else? I found the best thing to do. I'm just going to keep doing that.
Yeah, and that's
just kind of lame then.
But there's still these like in the world, there's still these like recipes that are shown. It's just like, oh, you can make a rice sandwich. You can't make a rice sandwich.
Like, oh yeah, you can add like these 4 obscure ingredients together for a thing that's not even as good as the hearty truffle.
It's like, and you get 3 hearts and like a small stamina upgrade. It's like, no, that's, who gives a shit? But yeah, but if I cook a durian, I get full health and I don't care.
And like extra health on top of it.
But like he goes into the armor sets and how valueless essentially they are unless you're like in combat or whatever. What's funny is that like in some parts of it he's so I'm not quite done it. I still have like maybe 40 minutes left to looking at the YouTube bar right now. I think I have like 40 minutes left to watch of it.
Wow, you didn't watch it in one sitting? Not a real fan.
I was listening to it for a bit, and yeah, he goes into the mechanic. Like he has like the same take as me for like a lot of things, but I think he enjoys the combat a little more than I do. I think the combat is so trivial that it's just like, I want to wear my Lizalfos mask and
just like skip everything.
Yeah, and just kind of not fight. But I learned so many things. Like so I have this 4-year-long playthrough still going of Breath of the Wild, trying to collect all the Korok seeds. And actually watching this retrospective made me do a short stream of Breath of the Wild. To like, again, like since like last year, I don't think I've streamed it, and I just look around for Korok seeds and just chill. And I found 4 Korok seeds, which blows my mind because now I'm at 704 out of 900. But I still don't know where all of them are. Like, I know everybody's collected to death the Korok seeds.
Oh, yeah. I remember you making a joke on commentary like, I should just commentate Breath of the Wild and be like, oh, wait, that's a Korok seed?
Oh, wait, that's a Korok seed?
I haven't found that one. I got to get that one.
I need to write that one down. Just to get it later. But yeah, it didn't, like him talking about the game. He talked about the shrines and how kind of trivial a lot of them are, where it's just like, maybe if they had more time to develop, they could make like some what's the range? It's like some shrines have like an outdoor puzzle that unlock the shrine, and then an in shrine puzzle as well. Oh yeah,
it's always a cock tease when the puzzle itself is unlocking the shrine.
Well, yeah,
and then you go to the shrine and it's like, oh cool, we get another puzzle. Oh, it's just a chest. All right, cool.
And he talks about like how bad the reward system is, where it's just like you don't really care about whatever you get. Whereas I kind of disagree with that. Like if you like, my perspective on Korok seeds is that like when I enter an area, when I was exploring the world, I'm like, oh, this is an area I haven't been before. I'm looking for Korok seeds. Like that's what I like when I blow up a rock wall beside like a cliff. And I see a treasure chest, I'm like, fuck. If I see another rock I can pick up that a Korok seed is underneath, I'm like, yes, there's a rock. I'm picking this up.
That is the funniest thing, when literally you Pavloved yourself into liking rocks more than treasure chests.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, a chest is going to be a Korok seed, but a rock, that's going to be a Korok seed, maybe.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, I blow up this rock and there's another rock. I'm like, yes. Yes.
I will say that Korok seeds are probably like the most brilliant way to make exploration enjoyable in that game.
And the world is just incredible. Like, that's what I say about Breath of the Wild all the time, where it's just like, I don't care about the game, like to some extent. Like the dungeons are kind of meh, and like sure, some of the characters are nice and stuff, but like you're playing it for the world. Like
it's like Skyrim.
Exactly. And like maybe after 4 years of playing it, I'm just like, oh, I've been like crossing the tundra over and over again. Maybe I'm getting it's getting a little stale, but like I'm still looking for Korok seeds, and like off and on for sure. I don't think I had turned on the game in like 5 months, but
you haven't gotten your monthly Korok seed in a while.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like even after 4 years, like, oh, it's starting to get stale. Like exploring the world over and over again, and shield sliding everywhere, and it's just nice and relaxing just to turn on Breath of the Wild and just kind of walk around. But he talked about the The shrines where it's just like they're not that balanced. Where it's just like, oh, there's sometimes just there's an outdoor puzzle or some sort of thing, and then it like in the shrine that you get rewarded with, there's a puzzle. But like, and then there's just like, oh, just an outdoor puzzle or an outside puzzle and an inside puzzle, or without an inside puzzle, or just an inside puzzle, just like randomly in the environment, or there's neither, and it's just kind of like, oh, you found it. Here's the end. And
so I also about the combat, I love gyro aiming when aiming arrows.
Yeah,
because when I'm playing Dark Souls, I'm on a controller. I'm forced to use sticks. I'm using like a bow and arrow. I don't use bow and arrows that much, but when I do, I gotta like sort of manipulate the sticks in a way, and it's kind of hard to aim.
Yeah.
But gyro aiming is so perfect, and I believe Nerl has really good videos about gyro aiming.
I love Nerl.
Yeah, Nerl, his videos are all bangers, just like Joseph Anderson and various other people.
He did a Metroid Dread review lately.
Oh yeah, I put off watching that because you know what? Maybe I'll not do Sekiro. Maybe I try Metroid Dread.
Ooh,
maybe because I was thinking like, oh, if I don't play Metroid Fusion first, will I not like? I'm not going to get all the lore and stuff. But maybe I should just like play it and not really care about the story. I don't know.
I know I have no interest in playing Metroid Dread, but yeah, I suppose
I might try it out. I don't know. I just remember many years ago when I was like 12 years old, firing up Super Metroid on a SNES emulator. I played it for about an hour and then put it down and never played it again.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just couldn't get into it, even though I hear like, oh, it's a friggin' masterpiece.
Yeah.
But I got to give a 2D Metroid game, more time because I've beaten Metroid Prime 3 recently on stream even, and I got to the final boss of Metroid Prime 2. But yeah, I had to give 2D Metroid more of a chance.
Maybe one of these days I'll hear the review of Metroid Dread from your perspective. But yeah, Nerl's great content creator. For sure.
Was I saying something before?
Combat in Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah, gyro aiming. Gyro aiming is so much better than controls the gaming because you can just sort of. It just feels so natural. Like you barely even move, and you can just aim very nicely to where you want to go.
Yeah.
And it's a lot better alternative to like the Wii motion aiming, which Wii motion aiming, it works when you have a good setup, but when you're not sitting on a sofa far from your TV, it's kind of awkward. And it's not ideal, even though you sort of can make it work. Like I remember when I played Metroid Prime 3, to get the motion sensor bar back far enough in my setup, I turned a trash can upside down, put it behind my desk, and like had it on there. And even with that, it was kind of weird. But gyro is a good way to make it work anywhere. So I like that.
Well, it's funny with Mockrox, like talking about the combat. He was just like. I don't think he hates it or anything like that. Like I just kind of run by everything or try to run by everything because I don't really like the combat. But he like maybe he gets bored by the sword combos or whatever. He said it might have been a good suggestion to like give Link as like a reward system because the reward system in Breath of the Wild is so god trash. Not
god hard, god trash.
God hard, god trash, and. But like it would be an interesting like Twilight Princess to give Link like a moveset shifts or like some like earn him like combat moves.
Oh yeah, there's the 7 combat moves you can get.
But like when he was talking about the armor sets, it seems like he was just like, oh yeah, you just kind of keep your like attack bonus outfit on, and I'm just like, no, I just kind of like keep some sort of like climbing gear on. I dyed my the fireproof pants, the Goron City pants, that I dyed them white so they don't look as like glaringly weird. So it's just like, oh, you're just wearing like white pants with weird like I'm just like because I was playing the other day and I had the outfit I had on when I started was like the Lizalfos mask, so that or Lizalfos, are they? Yeah, they're Lizalfos.
Yeah,
and
I believe so.
So that they don't trigger onto me. They're just like, oh, you're one of us. And I had the climbing upper, like the climbing shirt on, so that there's like some sort of climbing boost that I get because you just climb so much in that game. And I had the burn resistant pants. And without reason, I was just like in Death Mountain. I'm like, why am I not burning? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so smart. Like I just have this combination. I have this combination of outfit that I just don't have to keep changing it. And when he was talking about the outfits in his retrospective, he's just like, "Oh, you're constantly changing outfits. Like you want to go up this waterfall and stuff." I'm like, "No, I don't care." Like
Dude, screw a waterfall.
It sucks. I think it would have been so much better to just give Link the ability to swim up a waterfall instead of being like, oh, you have to switch to this outfit and then you can do it. Like just giving Link the ability to do it instead of switching to an outfit to do it would be so much more or less cumbersome, and just making exploring that world just a little bit more seamless. And he talked about the horses. Like, there's just so many different things that he went into, and I recommend it wholeheartedly to just have it on in the background, like the podcast or whatever. Just while you're doing speedrun ILs, just like this 4.5 hour retrospective of his take, like very well thought out. It's funny because it starts with like, oh, I bought Breath of the Wild for my girlfriend, and here's my 4.5 hour review. It's just like, so he bought it for his significant other, and then he's just like, yeah, and then I played the fucking shit out of it. But
you know what's funny is I think I don't listen to as many YouTube long form things as I used to, because I used to do that in the past to justify IL grinding, but now I listen to the podcast and do it, and it's like, well, now I got to do that and a video. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I should do like more background videos and get around to more of those.
Yeah, and there's like some things I learned from him, which is just like apparently that, you know, the Octoroks that suck in the bombs and then you blow them up?
Yeah.
You can throw rusty swords into their mouth. And
I actually knew that.
I didn't know that.
And I learned that from somewhere, yeah.
And I learned that the other day, and I haven't turned on Breath of the Wild since I've gotten like past that point in the retrospective. And I'm like, oh my God, now I kind of want to pick up a rusty sword and like see, because I've always like run by rusty whatever in the environment and been like, why are these still like spawning? But if there's like something to do with them, then that's like really cool.
I had no idea. Like, I forget where I learned that from, but I definitely heard that somewhere a long time ago.
But yeah, I would recommend just like listening to, like he went into the, like there are just things I disagree with him on, but it's like, I don't know. I just like hearing, I don't need everybody to agree with everything that I like. I love the world and I don't like the combat, but he obviously likes the combat and loves the world, obviously, and like to some extent likes the story, being one of his favorite games. But he went into the side quests. And you know me, if you've been listening since season 1 on average Trey VG or just like season 1 of the podcast, I hate the like little shitty side quests in Breath of the Wild, the Goron Spice missions. And he was just like, like he literally like dedicated 2 lines to it. It's like, it's inoffensive. And I can talk about like for hours, just like why, oh, you get like a little bit of personality from the NPC that you're playing with. And I'm just sitting there going like, yeah, I don't need to, like, what personality am I getting from this little old man at this stable that's just like, hey, can you get me some Goron Spice? And then you come back, it's like, thanks, here's 50 rupees. I'm like, dude, I have like 20,000. I don't, whatever.
His personality is that he's the piece of shit.
but yeah, I like. He
doesn't want to get his own Goron Spice, but he'll give you a measly 50 rupees for it. So, you know.
Yeah.
There's that.
But yeah, I was watching that and going through that. So it like reinvigorated me to play Breath of the Wild a little bit more.
Oh, you're going to play it again?
Oh, well, like I did the other day for 4 Korok seeds. Like I was thinking about doing a restarting a playthrough, but I have zero interest in restarting that game.
Oh yeah, I think you could spend your time doing other games instead.
Yeah, like we could play. Yeah, like Back 4 Blood or just like some other game that I put in. But yeah, before we wrap up the podcast, let's acknowledge that SM64 is fucking popping off right now.
Oh yeah, there was a record in 16-star from Green Suiji.
Yeah,
a record in 70-star from our boy from SMS Super Ouija X, aka just Ouija.
Yep.
Two Ouijas.
Yeah,
you know, it's kind of crazy.
Ouija.
And then Liam, the guy who left for like a year and a half, got the first 137 and 120-star.
Yeah,
which is nuts. I don't know how you just like leave and then come back and you're so good, but he's nuts.
I got a DM when Liam got the record, and it's just like, oh, Liam got the record, and I had him actually in another tab. Like, what are the chances? Like, who's this type of person? Just like, I had Liam on a tab, but he was paused, and he got the record. Like, what subsect am I in? Like, I just have him open, but I'm not watching or listening, and I missed the 137 by that much. Just like, oh, I had a tab, it was paused, but I missed it. And
I remember I went to the front page of Twitch and just saw on the thumbnail 4658 on Ouija's stream. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Yeah, and
apparently he even missed a Bowser throw, so it could have been even crazier.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are waking up to Ouija's insane gamer skills. Now it's not just Sunshine Runners, you know that.
What was it, a Lou Marty tweet the other week? It's just like, oh, finally SM64 gets to feel how
how Sunshine Runners did?
Well, like, yeah, just like, oh, feel against Nindide and Ouija. It's just...
Yeah, like 64 players never really felt that inferiority that we did.
Yeah, we're just sitting here in Sunshine.
There's gods among us.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know I said among us, but...
yeah.
Monga.
But yeah, that's...
There's gods among us.
There's gods among us. But that's...
There we go.
I think that's literally everything I wanted to cover, and...
yeah, it's been real.
It's been real.
I think I said that after the relay as well.
Yeah, it was funny after the relay. Like, Lego was just like, "Oh, do you want to shout out?" And you were just like, "Oh yeah, follow me on Average Trey and onto my Twitch and on my Twitter and stuff." And I'm just like, "Oh yeah, Sided Williams on all of my stuff too." But like, also we do a podcast.
Yeah, if we even got one extra sub from that, then we did our job.
Well, I didn't say Sid and Trey, so like going.
I said Sid and Trey.
You said Sid and Trey.
Eventually I did.
This is like, oh yeah, I'm kind of trying to seamlessly make talking about our wrap up in relay be the wrap up of this podcast. But like, we just like went into our socials and stuff, and it's just like, yeah. And if you've enjoyed this relay commentary at all, like Trey and I, this afternoon, we're going to be recording a podcast, which is this podcast right now, and this has been episode 21. Like, you can subscribe on the YouTube at Sid and Trey.
Yeah, you can subscribe, or you can't, or you can dislike the video if that's still an option. Unless they remove it.
Hey, if you read a comment, or if you write a comment, if you read a comment, nice. If you write a comment,
if you read a comment, nice. If you write a comment, even better.
But yeah, Google Podcasts and Spotify. Video games are hard. W/Sid and Trey, or Sid and Trey, and then. Yeah, this has been episode 21. Anything else you want to say, Trey?
Nope.
All right, we're signing out. See you next week, everybody. When we get a guest, we'll get a guest next week. Peace out.